you see Jacksonville and Pittsburgh.
Lets him know that he will use it more tonight.
And he's ahead of him 0-2. Vizquel is hitting .240 for the series. But he made the play of the series last night, robbing Charles Johnson with a startling diving play in the hole and throw from the outfield grass, choking off a rally and saving 2 runs. Bounces this one to Bonilla. 1 out.
Now, after starting Vizquel off with a breaking ball, he goes to the hard stuff. Vizquel chased a high fastball, and then as Leiter did in the first outing of the series, he gets inside on Vizquel here. He jams him, and he hits that little roller up along third to Bobby Bonilla. In that outing against the Indians, his first outing, he made some very good pitches on Cleveland hitters. They got jammed and hit those little flares in the right field that eventually led to his downfall. But he can get tight on you very, very easily.
Biff Roberts could play tonight, but Mike Hargrove didn't want to face a situation where Roberts starts the game, feels ill again, has to be removed, and then he's used up 2 players. So Fernandez gets the start. And is this crowd on fire or what?
Well, they were here about 1 o'clock this afternoon, Bob. These parking lots were jammed and ready.
A ball and a strike to the switch hitter, who hit around 400 from the right side this year. 286 overall. In on his hands and fouled back 1-2.
There they are again. Leiter with 2 strikes on another Indians hitter, and this place jam-packed, standing.
$67,000+ roaring, and a breaking ball in the dirt.
The fact that Fernandez is starting could be a plus for the Indians, simply because he's a little better second baseman because he's played there more than Biff Roberts. And from the right side, he is an excellent hitter, hitting .500 in the series.
Leiter's 2-2 pitch. Fastball fouled away.
Well, despite the fact that Leiter throws that fastball in the 90s, the Marlins outfield, as Joe just alluded to a moment ago, Fernandez from the right side has got some pop. They play him as a pull hitter. There's a gap in right center between Sheffield and White.
Inside, full count. Al Leiter turned 32 on Thursday. A New Jersey kid. He's been with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, now the Marlins. His 3-2 pitch.
One thing they always worry about with Leiter is that he's hyper, and in the first couple of innings, he has a tendency to overthrow.
And this ball is whacked into center field. Devon White has a beat on it. Get Leiter in the mood for each of his starts here at home. They play Bruce Springsteen songs, fellow New Jersey guy, for about an hour before the game.
And we mentioned that he has pitched very well here. 6-2, 2.28, but in the postseason this year he's 0-1.
Home or away, he's been roughed up in the postseason, including his Game 3 start in Cleveland. Ramirez hits it hard, but Renteria has it. Leiter works a perfect first. But he hits cleanup, and the slumping Bobby Bonilla is dropped to 6. Alou is in between them, specifically in anticipation of multiple pitching changes in Game 7 with just about everybody in the bullpen. He wants to have that left-right switch hitter possibility to foil any moves that Hargrove might make with his bullpen.
Well, Jared Wright, Howard pitcher all the way. He's got an excellent fastball, curve, and a change. He has a tendency to be high in the strike zone from time to time.
White bounces the first pitch up the middle. Vizquel doing what he does best.
Well, I'm telling you.
Can he pick it?
He can pick it.
Boy, I'm telling you, you don't see him any better than that guy. Here's the defense behind Wright. 22 postseason double plays. The play of this series, one of the great plays, was turned by that guy, Omar Vizquel. Man, what a shortstop. Jim Leland said today he might be the best I've seen.
Here's another good one, Renteria. Taking a ball. 10 months ago, Jarrett Wright was pitching for the Scottsdale Scorpions of the Arizona Fall League. At the beginning of this season, he was with the Akron Arrows. That's double-A ball. Bounced over first. Fair ball, base hit for Renteria. Chased down by Ramirez. He sprints for a double, and he's in there.
One thing that works well for both hitters on these teams is that both of these pitchers will come after you. You have to only react to what they're doing. You do not have to think too much. And that's what they're doing here, just going after the fastball from Jarrett Wright. A nice throw here, but good hustle by Renteria, and they have a runner in scoring position with Gary Sheffield coming up.
That ball that Renteria hit looked like it was behind him. It was by him already. He hit it very late and hit it past Jim Thome down the right field line.
Now they can pitch around Sheffield if they'd like, but Dalton hitting .467 and crushing almost everything he swings at the past 3 or 4 games will be next. Care how uncommonly composed Jarrett Wright is for a 21-year-old, it's still remarkable. 3 years ago, he was pitching for Catella High School in Anaheim, California. Now Game 7 of the World Series. 2-0. Didn't even come to the big leagues until the last week of June.
And Bob, no matter how good you think he's going to be in the future, this is a pretty big stage for a young kid at this point in his career.
A dangerous pitch for him to Sheffield on 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes.
There's that little two-seam fastball that Jarrett Wright throws. It comes into a right-hander diving down inside on Sheffield and missing.
Sheffield takes strike 1. They're all pros, sure, but look at them. Look at Sheffield stepping out, deep breaths. You think he does that in the first inning of a game in mid-July, or even in Game 6 of the World Series? This is Game 7. There's nothing like it. Ball 4.
Jarrett Wright start taking a couple of deep breaths here too, Bob. Yesterday he told me, he said, hey, I'm ready. If they want me, I'll take the ball. I'm ready. The worst part of this whole thing is before the game. Once I get into the bullpen and I get myself loose, get to the dugout, and I'm ready to go, heck, I'm locked in.
Mike Hargrove managing Game 7 on his 48th birthday. Now Dalton. Takes a strike.
And one thing about Dalton, and the reason he's hitting behind Sheffield, is he is very patient. He will show you that he's not going to go out of the strike zone. He makes you give him a pitch to hit every at bat.
Here's the 0-1. Fastball wrapped to second. Fernandez gets one. Vizquel cannot make a play to first because Sheffield went in hard.
Yeah, but they're calling interference.
Look at that. They call interference and rule it a double play. We'll look at it and have Joe Morgan explain it when we come back. We played a scoreless first.
In Game 7, you have to try to break up every double play you can. And Sheffield does that, but I'll show you why they called him out right here. You have to be able to touch the bag with some part of your body. Otherwise, they figure that you're going after the shortstop, and that's what he was doing. And Joe West called it right away. He saw that Sheffield could not touch the bag with any part of his body in his slide.
So we go to the second, and Justice takes a ball from Leiter. David is the only guy in either lineup who has played in a Game 7 in the World Series. A ball and a strike to him. That was in 1991. The extra inning classic, which Justice's Braves lost to the Twins. He was 1 for 3 with a walk that night against Jack Morris. Leiter ahead of him, 1-2.
And Leiter, as he did his first time out in the World Series, staying pretty much with fastballs. And again, this sellout crowd getting to their feet. He's only thrown a couple of curveballs in this game.
Justice lays off. It's 2-2.
That was a new pitch for him right there, Bob. That was kind of a changeup. He took a little off of his fastball.
Broken bat down to Dalton. The bat goes one way. Dalton goes the other with the ball, and Justice is retired. Tonight's overhead shots are from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. It's based in Pompano Beach, Florida. At the controls is pilot Dan Thomas from Endeavor, Wisconsin.
Know it well. That blimp is the biggest thing in that town. Blow that thing up, and it's a big happening.
People come from miles around. Williams swinging a hot bat the past few games, hiking his World Series average over 400. Ball one from Leiter. No matter how you look at Leiter's postseason statistics, they are not pretty. This is his 5th appearance and 4th start. He has only one decision. It was a loss. His ERA is 6.35. He's allowed 12 runs and 26 hits plus 11 walks in 17 innings prior to this game. And opponents are hitting .377 against him in the postseason. So if he plans to turn it around, this would be the time.
And I think he has to turn it around with his breaking ball. He has to show these Indian hitters something other than just hard stuff, because they are such good hitters when they can lock in on one pitch.
Two and one.
Well, Jim Leland told us that no matter what Charles Johnson wants to call from time to time, Leiter pretty much has his own mind. I mean, if he feels something is working better, and obviously he feels the fastball is, he's going to stay with that pitch. There you see Johnson wanting something inside. That's a cut fastball that time, that little cutter that he'll throw. It's in the 90s, too, but it has a tendency to bust in on you very quick-like. Almost like a slider, but a little bit quicker.
The 2-2 pitch. Fastball tap foul. Leiter has always had trouble with control. Last year, despite winning 16, pitching a no-hitter, and making the All-Star team, he led the National League in walks. If you can wait him out, it's possible that he'll walk you or get behind in the count, and you can sit on a fat pitch.
And one thing he has in his favor here, if he wants to throw the curveball, Matt Williams will chase some breaking balls in the dirt after he gets behind 2 strikes.
Fastball, wrapped foul.
See, that should tell Leiter something right there. He's got 2 strikes on Matt Williams, and he still pulled his fastball foul. And that was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. If he can pull it foul with 2 strikes, that means you have a chance to go a different direction. Something off speed with him. He's out in front of the fastball. He's for sure going to be out in front of the breaking ball or the changeup.
Another 2-2 pitch. In the dirt, full count.
Well, at least he tried. That's what you want to do.
It's about the third one he's thrown, Joe, and it's a good biter. I mean, this ball really drops down in the dirt, and Williams able to check his swing.
Look at the expressions on all the faces. It's warm tonight, but not all the sweat is from the heat. The payoff. He got him to swing at what could have been ball 4, his first strikeout.
Good slider down low, and that's what he needs to do. He just can't let these guys lock in. This is a slider that goes out of the strike zone, and you will get Matt Williams to chase him with 2 strikes. So smart pitching there by Leiter, and a good call there by Charles Johnson.
Leiter, who didn't have a single 1-2-3 inning in his Game 3 start, has retired the first 5 he's faced in Game 7. Alomar cuts and misses.
There's one thing that you do as a hitter sometimes, Bob, when you know a guy throws a lot of fastballs, and Leiter does, as does Jared Wright. You have a tendency as a hitter to sit on the first pitch, maybe a fastball. You're looking fastball, and you chase him out of the strike zone. There's a nasty breaking ball, and a totally different Al Leiter than we saw in his first appearance.
And this is what we said he had to do, throw some breaking balls, and he's doing it so far.
That one sails high. Leiter is from a baseball family. His older brother Kurt pitched in the Baltimore organization in the early 80s. Another older brother, Mark, is still pitching with the Philadelphia Phillies. Fastball just outside, 2-2.
Well, it seems that Charles Johnson is trying to get Leiter to throw a couple of more breaking balls, but he still likes that fastball and tried to ride that one away from Alomar.
Full count. Jim Thome on deck. Foul ball down the left field line.
Changeup.
Yep.
Throw him a 3-2 changeup, but all these pitches that he's throwing early, the changeup, the slider, the curveball, that goes in the back of each one of these hitters' minds to know that they can't just sit on the fastball. You always follow a changeup with a good fastball.
Fastball well hit to center, but Devon White backpedals a bit, and that'll do it. 6 in a row retired by Leiter. To the bottom of the second.
Levon Hernandez, and he had a very emotional meeting just a short time ago, about 30 minutes before the game, with his mother, Miriam Carreras. She has just arrived from Cuba. She got on a plane, got here at about 5:40 Miami time, was escorted up here by Tony Perez's wife. They came into Wayne Huizinga's private booth. Tears were streaming. They hugged for 10 to 15 minutes. I spoke to Levon. He said he couldn't get a word out for the first 20 minutes. Then they finally spoke for about 10 minutes. She's only going to stay at the ballpark here for about another 2 or 3 innings. That's because of security reasons. She's going to be under 24-hour security. The Cuban government will allow her to stay here for 90 days. But because of all the media attention and because Levon's mother is very, very nervous about all of this attention, she doesn't want to speak tonight. She just wants to enjoy the game, and truly she's overwhelmed. Bob?
Jim, thanks a lot for staying on top of that story. What a story it is. Strike one to Alou, and now he fouls one to the seats. 0-2.
They're going to try to throw a lot of breaking balls to Moises Alou because he's one of the best fastball hitters on this team. But Jared Wright's breaking ball is also pretty hard. It's not a slow breaking curveball, the ones that give Alou a lot of trouble.
In the air down the right field line, Ramirez racing over into foul ground, and it lands in the bullpen. A hustling effort, though, by Manny.
Now, Jared Wright has that excellent fastball. He's like Leiter in velocity in the 90s. But the thing that he has that he does a little bit better than Leiter, he's got a changeup, and he'll throw it when he's behind in the count from time to time. Or when you talk about guys like Alou locking in, maybe on a fastball, he'll throw that changeup down low and away.
Jarrett Wright, 8-3 for the regular season after being called up from the minors. 3-0 in the postseason. A Ball high to Alou. That includes his Game 4 victory in the World Series. The last rookie to start Game 7 of the World Series was the Cardinals' Joe McGrain in 1987. He pitched pretty well. The Cardinals ultimately lost the game to Frank Viola and the Twins. 2-2. The last rookie to win Game 7 of the World Series was, as you all know, Charles Babe Adams of the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1909. A high pop-up into shallow center field. Fernandez out to make the catch. Babe Adams won 3 games in that 1909 World Series, including the 7th one at Detroit, and he held Ty Cobb to 0 for 4. 6 others, including Jarrett Wright, have started a Game 7 as rookies since then. None has won since 1909. A strike to Bonilla, who is hitting just 167 with only 2 RBIs in the World Series. And he's stranded a lot of runners of late in big situations. So Dalton is hitting cleanup, and Bonilla has been dropped from 4th to 6th.
Well, Bobby Bonilla has been chasing a lot of bad pitches. In that game yesterday, he went after pitches out of the strike zone in situations where he could really hurt you. There you see what he's done. He's left 18 runners on base, and for the most part, again, chasing bad pitches out of the strike zone, a pitcher's pitch.
A bouncing ball toward Fernandez. He has time and gets him.
A good example right there. That pitch out away from Bobby Bonilla, and he tried to pull it, hit that weak little ground ball to Fernandez.
One of the reasons Bonilla has been successful throughout his career is he's able to take some pitches to left center field. He's hit a couple of balls in left field against the Atlanta Braves, but in this World Series, he's been trying to pull everything.
This has not exactly been a pitcher's series. In fact, through 6 games, there has never been a single game scoreless after 2 innings. Ball 1 to Johnson, 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the 2nd, no score. Last night was only a 4-1 game, fairly well pitched, but entering the game, these clubs combined were threatening dubious records for most walks allowed and highest combined ERA in any World Series. A high chopper and foul at the plate.
Well, Charles Johnson has been swinging the bat very well the last 3 ball games. And he had a couple of hits last night. He was robbed of a base hit by Omar Vizquel that turned the game around. He hit the ball in the hole. Vizquel with the diving stop saved 2 runs and changed the whole game.
Breaking ball got him. First strikeout for Wright. He and Leiter match zeros through 2. Of 52-year-old Jim Leland's baseball life. When Jim and Katie were married 10 years ago, Jim's brother Tom, who's a priest, performed the ceremony. Has retired the first 6 he faced, and he starts Tomey with a strike in the 3rd.
And another slider.
Let's say breaking ball, Joe, and that's something Tomey didn't see against Leiter the first time he faced him.
Fastball is high. They want to check at 3rd, but Greg Koss says no way he went around. Foul, 1-2.
Well, when Tomey hit the home run against Leiter, he hit a high fastball, a letter high fastball, and he hit a line drive out in Jacobs Field. This for at bat for Tomey, it's breaking stuff, and now maybe a fastball outside. See if he goes with a fastball or maybe a cutter here.
Fastball way high. Joe mentioned on the pregame show That Leiter was 6-2 this year at home. His ERA barely over 2, while on the road he was 5-7 with an ERA upwards of 6. That's been his career-long pattern. No matter where he has pitched, he's been markedly better at home than on the road. Full count to Thome, and when we asked Jim Leyland about it, he had no theory at all. He said, I don't know. Maybe his wife's a good cook. Look at that. You expect some difference, but not that great a disparity. And he walks Thome, who becomes the first man to reach against him. Now tonight, while you're watching the game, you can also go online to MLBWorldSeries.com and send in your question for Barry Larkin, the Cincinnati shortstop, who's online right now, plus a complete recap of every postseason game this year. And after the game, listen into audio of the post-game press conferences, all at MLBWorldSeries.com. Grissom to the plate. Seems strange to say that he's down to 381 in the series, but that's the case. He skips away from ball one. The pitcher, Jarrett Wright, is on deck.
Well, the test for Leiter will come when he gets some runners on base. Will he continue to mix his pitches, or will he try to throw his way out of trouble by throwing nothing but the fastball and overthrowing it? They do want to pound Grissom inside, though.
Not that far inside, 2-0.
But they do want to throw him a lot of hard stuff and stay in on him, so you may not see him throw many breaking balls to Grissom, but he's going to have to continue to mix his pitches even when he gets runners on if he's going to be successful tonight.
You see Dalton playing off the bag, and the count goes to 3-0 on Grissom.
Well, as he worked in his first outing in the World Series inside, and again here he is on Grissom now falling behind 3-0. Leland said he just likes to pound hitters inside.
Taking all the way, strike one.
And the one thing with Grissom, he hit 17 home runs during the regular season. Anything out there, I mean, that's out over the middle and a fastball, he's going to hurt you. He'll hit you deep.
And a miss, full count.
94-mile-an-hour fastball.
And the 3-2 pitch hit toward the hole for a base hit. Thome will stop at second. First hit of the night for Cleveland. And Jarrett Wright comes up in a sacrifice situation.
Al, just what I was talking about. This fastball is out over the outer part of the plate, and Grissom right on it rips a base hit into left field. And Johnson out there now talking things over with Leiter along with Darren Dalton. And Joe has been there, and we've all been there many times. I don't care how hard you throw. You've got to have something else to go with it. And if you make mistakes with the fastball, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, they can hit them. It's the off-speed stuff, the curve, the changeup, that sets everything up.
In interleague play this year, Wright sacrificed successfully twice. Apart from that, he was 0 for 3. Not masking his intentions, he bunts foul. Last night, Chad O.J. had a single and a double, drove in 2 and scored 1. Prior to O.J. last night, in the previous 140 World Series at-bats by American League pitchers, they had the grand total of 6 hits for an average of 0.43. But O.J. made like Bob Gibson or somebody with the bat. A throw by Johnson back to second, but Thome skips in safely.
And if you're Al Leiter, you got to be heads up. He was charging the plate, and Johnson came up and fired.
Heads up or heads off.
Watch this. Leiter, now he's charging for the bunt. He comes in. Now he realizes, hey, I better get down.
Tell you what, Johnson may throw it harder than Leiter. He pulls back, and it's 2-1.
It's always a tough play for a runner when a batter jabs at a ball. When he makes a jab at a ball to bunt it, and you take that extra step toward third base, anticipating that he's going to lay it down, that catcher's got a good shot at you.
Tommy at second, Grissom at first, Wright looking to bunt. Bunts it hard and foul, and now the count goes to 2-2.
Well, you still have to bunt him here. You have to try to do anything you can to get that runner to third base and try to take a lead in this ball game. So I'm sure Mike Hargrove will have him bunting again, even though some people think he may be able to swing the bat. This is a bunting situation.
He'll try it again, and he'll bunt it fair. It's a hard bunt. Dalton wanted to go to third, but couldn't get the ball out of his glove, and now has to settle for the play at first with Counsell covering.
Well, he definitely had Jim Thome at third base. As you mentioned, you don't bunt the ball to the first baseman when you're trying to advance runners from first and second. You have to bunt it to third base because the first baseman is charged, and he's right in there, so he has plenty of time, but he just can't get it out. And then wisely, though, he did not attempt to make the throw. He took the one out at first base.
It was bunted so hard, and Thome is a slow runner, that Dalton knows he had the play at third if he could have fielded it cleanly.
I think that bunt attempt by Jarrett Wright, too, was more self-defense. He wasn't worrying about where he got it down. He just wanted to get it down.
Now Vizquel taking a ball. The Florida infield is back with runners at second and third and one out. Top of the third, no score. Bluffing a bunt and taking ball two. Vizquel, despite the fact that he's a little guy, and you'd think of him as a contact hitter, he's a very good bunter, a hit-and-run man, he does strike out more than you might guess. Up in a situation where a strikeout would be immensely helpful to Leiter. In the air, back of short, not deep enough. Renteria makes the catch, the runners hold.
Well, a beautiful pitch that time by Leiter. Vizquel trying to hit the long fly ball. He got under it and hits that little pop-up in the short left field, grabbed by Renteria. Watch this. It's a fastball right down the middle. Vizquel upset it himself, slams the bat down. Runners have to hold.
But remember, Tony Fernandez, very good hitter from the right side. Hit a line drive to center field in the first inning, so he's not out of this jam yet.
The pop-up works just as well as a strikeout. Now with two down, they need a hit from Fernandez. And he fouls it back for strike one.
We talked about the fact that he had been going with mixing his pitches well. Now that he's gotten in trouble, pretty much all fastballs. Let's see if he tries to change here. He has a strike on Tony Fernandez. He's not front. You need to mix your pitches if you're going to keep these Indian hitters off balance.
Fastball in on him, a ball and a strike.
Fernandez is another one of those guys that'll chase a low inside breaking ball. Curveball down low and inside, or again that cutter that Leiter is featuring tonight.
This is what has gotten him in trouble the entire postseason. Whenever he's gotten in trouble, he's basically gone with one speed, all hard. A cut fastball and a fastball.
The Indians with their first threat of the night here in the third. And Fernandez with a liner into center for a base hit. Thome scores. Grissom is right behind him. It's 2-0 Cleveland. Tony Fernandez, who won the pennant for them with his 11th inning home run at Baltimore in Game 6 of the ALCS, delivers an early hit that could be the decisive hit in the World Series. Could be.
But as I said, when he gets in trouble, he goes right to the fastball, all hard stuff, and you just can't do this against good hitters. Tony Fernandez is sitting on something hard. He gets a fastball, and he lines it into center field for a base hit. And you just can't do that. You have to continue to mix your pitches, and he did not do that.
Larry Rothschild talking with Leiter as you look at this pitch one more time. This is a fastball right there about belt high, and Fernandez jumps on it and lines it into center. Leiter upset it himself. And the location of that pitch. Rothschild, we were told before the game tonight, has had conversations with Leiter as you look at the Marlins bullpen, busy here in the third. But Rothschild said you've got to throw the curveball. You've got to really make these hitters think about the breaking ball instead of that fastball all the time where they're only sitting on one pitch, and especially when you're behind.
Now Ramirez, who grounded out in the first. 2-0 Cleveland in the third.
And remember, Fernandez is only in there because Bip Roberts was sick.
Roberts and all of his teammates are feeling a bit better now. The ball to Ramirez. We saw lots of happy expressions. There's Bip, suffering from a virus which knocked him out of a couple of World Series games, including last night midway through. Of all the expressions in that dugout, perhaps the happiest belonged to Omar Vizquel. Fernandez picked him up. Vizquel couldn't bring a run home when a sacrifice fly might have done it. But then Fernandez knocked them both home with a base hit. 2-0 to Ramirez.
Since he walked Jim Thome to lead off this inning, every pitch has been a fastball or something hard, just a little cut fastball, but all fastballs.
And he falls behind Manny 3-0. He walked Thome to open the inning. Grissom followed with a single to left. Wright laid down a 2-strike sacrifice. Then after Vizquel popped to short with the runners holding, Fernandez singled to center. Both runners scored. It's 2-0. And now a walk to put runners at first and second for David Justice.
Well, it's really hard to figure this out. Why Leiter, and I know Johnson is calling curveballs every once in a while, but he keeps shaking him off. And again, I mean, you're your own guy out there, but you still have to go along with what a scouting report says on certain hitters, that you've got to throw a curveball once in a while and get away from that one-pitch syndrome. And he hasn't done it here tonight. I think he's only thrown 3 curveballs in this game.
When the Justice is a strike. David hits left-handers very well.
Well, he hit well over 300 against both. 315, 322. He's just a good hitter.
Tap foul, 0-2.
There's a curveball from Leiter, down low and away, and Justice hit it foul. But I mean, it's a very sharp curveball. It's a biting curveball, and has that left-handed batter. I mean, it'll make you give from time to time, or even a right-handed batter to get it, you know, down low and inside and chase it.
One and 2. Leiter trying to minimize the damage in the third.
Make no mistake about it, if he can get out of this inning, they're going to score some runs off the right. The Marlins will score some runs, so all he has to do is make sure he keeps it close.
Rookie Jarrett Wright, staked to a 2-0 lead, goes to work in the bottom of the third. Craig Counsell, the number 8 hitter, starts it, followed by Leiter, and then White. Strike one. Breaking ball fouled at the plate, 0-2. Counsell has cooled off in this World Series. 2-11 in the series. He's still over 300 in the playoffs overall, and he hit 299 during the regular season, but the Indians pitchers have handled him pretty well.
They made a couple of mistakes on him in the postseason early, and breaking stuff inside or even fastballs, and not that real power fastball inside. He was able to turn around on those pitches and hit him into the right field corner. I mean, I was surprised he pulled the ball as much as he did. But as you said, Bob, they've kind of zeroed in on him now.
Wright's 0-2 pitch is inside.
Mike Hargrove told us before the game when we asked him about a pitch count or how many innings Wright would be able to go, he said, hey, I don't have a pitch count on him, but I'm hoping to get 4 innings out of him, 4 or 5 innings out of him, and if he does that, I'll be more than happy.
Still 1-2. He's pitching on 3 days rest. The last time Hargrove asked him to do that, it was the 5th and final game of the division series against the Yankees. He went a little more than 5 innings. He beat Andy Pettitte. They won the series and moved on to the ALCS against the Orioles, which they also won in 6 games. Counsell lifts one into right center field. Grissom coming over for the catch. Next Sunday, more NFL action, beginning at noon Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Then most of the country will see Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots taking on Brad Johnson and the Vikings. Others will see Warren Moon and the Seahawks traveling to Denver to face John Elway and the Broncos, or perhaps regional action. As always, check your local listings for the game in your area. It all starts at noon Eastern on NBC. Leiter to the plate, taking a ball. Gesturing to Wright as if to say, look, let's not fool around with this guy.
Right.
Just pour some heat in here and take care of him. Strike 1.
Well, he's tried to throw a couple of fastballs. Finally gets the inside corner with that 3rd one. But again, against a guy like Leiter, look at Alomar, how low he puts those signs, down on the ground almost.
Another fastball, another called strike.
You look at Alomar when he gets down into his crouch and puts his hands in between his legs, maybe from the shadows of his chest protector and everything else. Wright can't see him. Down there you can.
Leiter slices it foul. Still 2-2.
A lot of catchers put tape on their fingers. Wrap each finger with tape where you can see. Alomar's done it from time to time. I don't know if he's got it tonight. No, he doesn't. Yeah, we see it.
It's a full count. Garrett Wright has already pitched more innings this year between the minors, the regular season and the majors, and the postseason than in the previous 2 seasons combined. And he walks Leiter with 1 out in the 3rd.
That was actually a good job by Leiter to be able to lay off of that pitch. He spoiled the pitch before.
So Hargrove's concern with Wright was that he might not have many more pitches left in his arm. And when the World Series began, Hargrove said that for that reason, Wright would get only 1 start in the series in Game 4. But when Nagy was ineffective in Game 3, and Wright did reasonably well in Game 4, Hargrove reconsidered. But he's not looking for anything close to a complete game here. He's got everybody but Chad O.J. available. So if Wright gives him 5 good innings, he'll be thrilled.
When he gets in trouble, Wright normally throws bad upstairs. If he's missing downstairs, that's not bad. But against a guy like White, if you're throwing downstairs and you don't have much on it, you better look out.
1-0 pitch to Devon White. Is in there. White grounded out his first time up. We're in the bottom of the 3rd. 2-0 Indians. Game 7. One and 2 to Devon White, who all of a sudden has found his stroke. He had 2 doubles in Game 5, then he went 3 for 5 in Game 6, including a triple. 2-2.
A little change of pace that time from Jared Wright.
But not in a good spot.
No, that was right down Main Street. And again, he's got a good one. And it'll drop down and away even sometimes from a left-handed batter. But he's got a good one when he's right. And he is right.
One out, one on. Renteria on deck. A ball and 2 strikes to Devon White, who hit .245 for the season. In the last 2 games, he's hiked his average in this World Series to .296. Plays off 2-2.
Now that's what Devon White was doing earlier in this series, swinging at changeups off the plate. Now he's more patient. He seems to be able to pick the speed of the pitch up a little better.
Breaking ball, tapped foul. And White hangs in there.
That was a nasty slider right there. After throwing a changeup away, I mean, that ball had some bite on it. And hard, too. That's the point. If he throws it that hard, you do not have a lot of time to decide whether it's going to be in the strike zone or not, especially with 2 strikes.
Struck him out with the high fastball. Second strikeout for Jarrett Wright.
Well, if he pitches anybody like that, you're going to have trouble. Good slider down and in. Now he comes with the high fastball. You just can't catch up with the fastball when you have to wait a little longer to see if it's going to be a slider. So he throws the fastball by him upstairs. No chance.
When this game started, the crowd at Pro Player Stadium was in a frenzy. They've calmed down considerably, with their team trailing 2-0 in the 3rd. Renteria takes a strike on the inside edge.
The hanging breaking ball from Jared Wright. He got away with it. Renteria didn't like the call, but it was in the inside area. That's definitely not where he wants to be with that curveball.
Renteria doubled to right his first time up. That's the only hit for the Marlins. 1-1 to him.
That double you hit, it was a high inside fastball. The ball that he actually hit behind him, hit it past Jim Thome down the right field line.
Livan Hernandez on the right, Moises Alou on the left. 2-1. With Leiter the runner at first, Thome, the first baseman, has no interest in holding him on, so he's playing behind him. To Renteria. Wright was the choice tonight over Charles Nagy, who has loads of experience, including postseason experience. Went to the World Series with the Indians in 1995. Nagy was 15-11 this year and pitched well in a pair of no decisions against the Orioles in the LCS, but poorly against the Marlins in his previous World Series starts. So he is at least a possibility tonight out of the bullpen. Ball 4.
Nagy, after working in the bullpen last night along with Brian Anderson, Mike Hargrove told us he had 3 people in mind. It was Anderson, Hargrove, and Wright. But here's the sequence. On Renteria, off the inside corner with 2 breaking balls, missed outside, then down low. There's the high fastball to Walkie. 2 runners on now. But when he decided on Wright, after watching those 2 guys throw last night, Bob, it was just, automatic that Wright would be the pressure because of the pitches that Nagy and Anderson threw in the bullpen last night. He'll get the call tonight if indeed Wright does give in here.
He has the 2-0 lead, but a pair of walks put 2 on with 2 out for Sheffield, who walked his first time up. Big cut and a miss.
Well, you just can't keep putting yourself in a position as he did in the first inning with Sheffield up and runners in scoring position. Because he is the man for Florida.
One pitch, popped up. Florida's most dangerous hitter doesn't come through with 2 men on. We've played 3, and the rookie right leads it 2-0.
You're on in the 7th game. Watch Gary Sheffield. He's not trying to hit this ball over the wall. He's trying to hit it out of the stadium. I mean, this is just an overswing. He had a good pitch to hit, and he just jumped at it. Look, I mean, he's spinning himself into the ground. You're going to have to relax and swing the bat like you're capable of. You don't have to try to hit it too far. It'll go if you hit it.
Joe, you played in 2 Game 7s. 1972, when your Reds lost Game 7 at home to Oakland. 1975, in one of the greatest World Series ever played, when you won Game 7 on the road at Fenway Park against the Red Sox.
And make no mistake about it, I was nervous in both games. I mean, Game 7 is what it's all about. You live for those days, but you have to be nervous going in, and sometimes the adrenaline can help you. Sometimes it makes you overswing, as it did with Gary that at bat.
Matt Williams struck out his first time. Takes ball 1. Did you stay nervous throughout the game?
No, after my first at bat in both games, I was relaxed. And I think that's the same thing here. They will relax as the game goes along.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Cuts and misses. How nervous were you for Game 7 of the '64 World Series?
Just getting to the ballpark and finding out where the team was staying was tops with me.
Yeah, they tried to ditch you, huh?
Running alongside the team bus, what a thrill. No, you know what? 7 games in a World Series, Cardinals and the Yankees in '64. Everybody, I mean, I don't care who you are and how many you've played in that last game. And even talking to the managers tonight, Bob, we asked both, are you nervous? Not really. Well, maybe a little bit. Yeah, not bad. But yeah, I got some butterflies. Absolutely. I was nervous talking to those guys. What do you ask them tonight? We've been with them for a week.
The 1-2 pitch struck him out for the second time.
And see, that's the problem we talked about earlier. He throws the breaking ball, he gets the hitters out, but as soon as he gets someone on base, he wants to throw his way out of trouble. High fastball, then he comes with a slider in, another slider in, and a good curveball. See, that curveball is a good pitch, but we didn't see him throw it any time when he had men in scoring position or men on base. He just has to force himself to throw it.
Alomar flied to center his first time up. The line's one over Bonilla and down the line. Getting to it is Alou. Alomar with a wide turn, but he'll hold with a single.
Well, here again is a high fastball from Leiter. High and inside. And Alou turns around on this thing and lines it to left for a base hit. He just made a nice pitch on Williams. There it is, upstairs again, and Alomar right on it. Boy, what a series he's had. What a postseason. What a postseason. And now Leiter again. He knows it. Got to get the ball down. Down and in. Going to go down and away, fine, but not in there. That's in the wheelhouse for a lot of these guys. And he got away with one on Alomar. Luckily, just a base hit, just a single.
Here's Tomey. A strike to him. He homered off Leiter in Game 3 at Jacobs Field. Alomar, with that hit, is now over 400 in the World Series. He's knocked home 10. The World Series record is 12 by the Yankees' Bobby Richardson in 7 games in 1960. 1-1.
He throws a curveball there to Tomey. Even if you do not throw it for a strike, you put it in the hitter's mind that you're going to throw something other than a straight fastball.
I think hitters sooner or later, too, though, Joe, if you don't throw strikes with it, I mean, they know that. They know you can't throw a strike with it, and they'll sit on fastball.
Misses the outside corner, 2-1.
It's not that he doesn't have a good curveball. I think sometimes he tries to be a little too fine with it. You know, make that perfect pitch on the outside corner, and especially to a guy like Tomey, who hit 40 home runs during the regular season.
Breaking ball drops in there nicely, 2-2.
Leiter has the equipment to beat the Indians. But if he doesn't pitch, if he just throws, he's not going to do it. And he has good enough stuff. He pitched a no-hitter in his career, so you know he has good stuff.
2-2 pitch, hit in the air to right center field. Sheffield started back, now comes in, skids to his knees and makes the catch. Alomar scrambling back and makes it ahead of the throw.
Well, Sheffield looked like he misjudged this ball momentarily. It was a curveball that Tomei hit in the right center. Sheffield misjudged it momentarily, but then came on hard. And watch this catch by Gary Sheffield. Backhanded grab right off the grass, then fires back toward the bag, but too late for Alomar. Nice running catch by Gary Sheffield after he made a bad move initially on that ball. He thought it was hit a lot harder than it was.
Now with 2 out, it's Grissom. He singled and scored back in the 3rd inning. Inside for ball 1. Gets the corner. Ed Montague working the plate for the 2nd time in this World Series. 6-man crew. Montague had the plate in game 1 and now game 7. Two balls and a strike to Marquise Grissom.
We can see that they're continuing to try to pound the ball inside to Marquise Grissom. I mean, I think you still have to throw strikes. You don't have to throw every pitch inside.
Another one inside. When you look at Marquise Grissom and David Justice and Matt Williams, these are guys that GM John Hart added after the departure of Albert Bell, Kenny Lofton, Carlos Baerga. At the beginning of the year, they thought that Kevin Mitchell would play a role on this team, and Julio Franco. They're gone now, and they've continued to win despite the turnover. Swing and a miss, a full count. Jack McDowell and John Smiley, 2 important pitchers, went down with injuries. They pursued Roger Clemens and Alex Fernandez as free agents, tried to trade for Curt Schilling. Couldn't get any of them, but they're in game 7 of the World Series. The payoff pitch is fouled back.
Grissom went after ball 4 that time, but he's sitting 3-2 and lighter with a fastball, and Marquise Grissom looking to hit it hard. He knew he swung at ball 4. He had a good whack at it, good hack at it.
Truthfully, you can go out of the zone if you know where the pitch is going to be. You know if they're pounding you inside, you can get up to that fastball sometimes.
Another 3-2 pitch with Alomar going. And he becomes the 4th strikeout victim tonight for Leiter, the 2nd in this inning. To the bottom of the 4th, 2-0 Cleveland. If you want to learn more about the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, and who doesn't, you can do it on the internet at www.goodyear.com and click on At the Controls. The Indians, with 2 runs on a hit by Tony Fernandez in the 3rd, lead it as we move to the bottom of the 4th. Darren Daulton takes a ball from Jarrett Wright.
Key inning here for Jarrett Wright into the 4th. He's thrown 50 pitches. Really hasn't labored all that badly yet.
2-0.
Again, here falling behind on guys like Daulton, Alou, and Bonilla. This is where you can get stung.
He gets the corner. And just missed it that time. 3-1 to Daulton. Will be followed by Alou and Bonilla in the 4th. He cuts on the 3-1 pitch and fouls it to the seats.
You can see Jarrett Wright has a lot of movement on his fastball. And that's why he can throw a 3-1 fastball to a good hitter like Dalton. Excellent movement.
Three-two pitch is a fastball popped wide of third, and it's out of play.
Watch a guy like Wright work and a veteran catcher like Alomar, and even when he gets behind, Alomar is still not afraid to come up inside on a guy like Dalton, who's got big power. And Alomar not afraid to go inside. He wants Wright to stay with his regular game plan.
3-2 pitch grounded toward Fernandez. From the outfield grass, he throws Dalton out. Tuesday, a shocking discovery on a Halloween Frazier.
There's a baby on the way. I don't believe it.
One of these people is about to become a parent. A Frazier you can't miss. NBC Tuesday. Either way, we can only hope the child doesn't have a nose like Cyrano de Bergerac. Moises Alou popped up his first time.
I could take the nose. The outfit was bad.
Jams him, and this will make the seats. Moises Alou has been a hero in this series already. His 3-run homer off Hershiser was the decisive blow in Game 1. A pair of doubles, although they lost Game 2. The huge home run in Game 5, another 3-run shot. When they trailed 4-2, suddenly they were in front 5-4, victimizing Hershiser again. A blast over the wall in center at Jacobs Field. There's Hershiser, who is available tonight. Remember when he came out of the bullpen for Tommy Lasorda in a crucial situation in the postseason in 1988 in the LCS against the Mets. Inside corner, and Alou is gone.
Now that's the second time that Wright has gotten a call third strike on a Marlin batter. Watch this, swinging a foul out. There's the fastball on the outside corner. Now this is a hanging curveball on the inside corner. Eddie Montague liked it. He got Charles Johnson back in the second after 2 strikes on him. He threw Johnson a curveball on the outside corner to get him looking.
Bonilla fouls the first one back. That one's in there, 0-2. Jarrett Wright has walked 3, but he's allowed the Marlins only 1 hit so far. Renteria's double over the first base bag as the second hitter in the game.
Well, the one thing he's doing to these left-handed hitters, he's starting the fastball off the plate inside, and it's moving back towards the inside corner.
That one didn't miss by much. A ball and 2 strikes.
Backdoor curveball that time on Bobby Bonilla, just off the outside corner. You saw Alomar put down the curveball sign and then move off the outside and hold that target right there.
And on the breaking ball, Bonilla goes down swinging. Second strikeout of the inning, 4th of the game, and through 4. 2-0 Cleveland.
Is showing more smarts than Al Leiter, who is older, because Leiter gets in trouble, he tries to throw his way out. When Jarrett Wright gets in trouble, he pitches his way out, and that's the big difference in this ball game so far. Both of them have good stuff tonight.
Number 27, the pitcher.
But Leiter trails it 2-0. And it's right to the plate as the first man to face him in the top of the 5th. The histories of these two teams could not be any more different. The Marlins in the World Series as the wild card team in just their 5th year of existence. Fastest of any franchise in baseball history to make it to the World Series.
And that guy there is a big part of that, and one of the reasons.
The Indians, on the other hand, are part of a Cleveland baseball history that dates to 1869, a charter member of the American League going back to 1901. They've won the World Series only twice, in 1920 and 1948. strikes out on 3 pitches. That's 5 Ks put in the book by Al Leiter.
Al, the whole baseball scene in Cleveland has changed, Bob, so very much with the addition of that new ballpark, Jacobs Field, and difference to Old Municipal Stadium that really was a tough place to play, and it was a tough place to come to work. I think when you look at players and going to your job every day, in difference to going to Municipal Stadium, coming to Jacobs Field and say, hey, what a place to work.
Well, from 1960 through 1993, in a 34-season stretch, Cleveland had only 7 winning seasons, and they were never as close as 10 games out of first place. The closest they ever came in a full season was 11 games out of first. In the last few years, that's changed completely. 1-2 to Vizquel.
If the Indians are able to hold on and win this game, I mean, I think they definitely deserve it because they played an almost perfect game in Game 6 to get it back to even, and they're playing another great ball game tonight, and a smart baseball game.
The 2-2 pitch. Full count. Some have called it the curse of Rocky Colavito. When they traded the popular outfielder away, their fortunes plummeted. A pop into shallow left field. Renteria sprinting out, can't get to it. Vizquel around first, but holds there with a bloop single.
Well, another pitch upstairs from Leiter. He got Vizquel back in the third in a key situation on a pop-up. There it is, a little high fastball. He jams Vizquel, but he hits this little flare into short left field, just beyond the reach of Renteria, and Vizquel aboard.
Vizquel stole 43 during the regular season. He swiped 3 in this World Series, including 2 last night.
Well, Tony Fernandez can use the bat very well. He can hit the ball to the right side, or he can pull the ball in the hole if they think the shortstop is covering. So if you want to do something, you have a perfect situation. Vizquel at first and Tony Fernandez at bat.
And a called strike.
You know what? I think Tony Fernandez feels like Vizquel missed a sign. He did. You see how he took that pitch? He was almost going to swing, and he saw that he wasn't running, and now he walks all the way out of the batter's box, and now he looks down at Vizquel. He thinks he missed a hit and run.
If he missed a hit and run, he missed the swing.
Well, he held up because he wasn't running.
It looked like it, Joe. There he goes.
Now he's running, and here comes Johnson's throw. It's a bullet, but not in time. Vizquel is the first man we have seen in this postseason who has successfully challenged the arm of Charles Johnson.
Well, he's challenged him 3 times. He's won. That was another tough pitch, though. A breaking ball down and in. That's a tough pitch for him to throw on. If he gets a fastball on that, I think he would have gotten Vizquel. But you can see he is clearly in there to tag up on the shoulder. His hand is in.
One thing about Johnson, too, on that throw, Joe, he didn't have time to come up on top. He threw from down below and still threw a bullet to second.
That one's in there, and it's 1-2 to Fernandez.
There are those times as a catcher, if you handle a pitch down low and a runner's got to jump on you, you don't have that time to get up on top and really fire. And Johnson really made a nice throw. Late, but a good throw.
Fernandez is single to center. Brought home 2 runs in the third. The only 2 in the game so far. 2-0 Cleveland as they bat in the 5th. Jay Powell and Felix Heredia, both of whom were in the game last night, getting ready again. To finish up the earlier thought as they confer on the mound, from the late 40s through the late 50s, the Indians were one of the American League's best teams. They won 2 pennants, 48 and 54, and were often in contention behind the great Yankee teams. But then, immediately after they traded Rocky Colavito on a very unpopular deal, sent him to the Detroit Tigers for Harvey Keene, everything went wrong. And for more than 3 decades, they were never a factor in the American League race. Line to left foul into the bullpen. So while Marlin fans are just getting acquainted with their team, Indian fans have suffered for years and years just waiting for the chance to celebrate a world champion. Their last one came 49 years ago when player manager Lou Boudreau guided a team that included Bob Lemon and Bob Feller to the World Championship over the Boston Braves.
Good hard slider down and in on Tony Fernandez, and that's what that conversation at the mound was about. He came back and threw him a curveball, and then he comes back with a slider down and in. Watch this pitch. It starts where Tony Fernandez thinks he can hit it. Look at that, and all of a sudden it just drops down. Beautiful pitch there from Leiter. As we said before, he should have done that back in the third inning when he got in trouble, but he went with all hard stuff in the second inning.
The Marlins only down 2-0 in this game, and Leiter's still in there and far from over. Intentional ride here to Manny Ramirez. The pitch to the left-handed batting David Justice. And again, we've talked about Justice and his ability to stay in there against the left-hander. He doesn't give very much. He's 0 for 2, though he struck him out looking his last time up.
Jim Leland, 52 years old. This is his 12th year as a major league manager. His 34th season in professional baseball. A minor league catcher, never much of a hitter, never got close to having a chance in the major leagues. As he put it, I simply was not good enough.
That fits the description of a lot of ex-baseball players. Getting to this final pinnacle is very difficult. I mean, there are only a certain number of spots for players, and the millions of people would love to play Major League Baseball.
There's much speculation that despite their success on the field and at the box office in the postseason, that Wayne Huizenga is looking to sell the team. He says he lost some $34 million this year, needs a new stadium. There's Wayne Huizenga, who believes that as long as he owns the team, they will never provide the public funds they feel are necessary to get a new baseball-only park. So he's looking to unload the team, it seems. And if he does, Leland has a clause in his contract that would allow him to leave. He says he's not sure he'd exercise it, but that option would be available to him. A strike to Justice. So it's possible, and I underline possible, that the Marlins could win the World Series tonight and start next season with a new owner and a new manager. Pitch from Leiter to Justice. Misses high and away.
That was kind of interesting there. Charles Johnson gave the sign like he was going inside in case Vizquel is given location down there at second base, and then at the last second he moved outside.
Fouled off, 1-2.
Well, he struck out Justice on a low outside curve back in the third. He's in front of him now, a ball and 2 strikes.
Vizquel, who singled and stole second, leads away. Ramirez with his lead at first. And the 1-2 pitch. There goes Vizquel for third. Johnson's throw, and Omar steals that too. Now that's pretty bold with a left-handed hitter at the plate and 2 outs.
And not only that, I mean, if you get thrown out, you end the inning. But it is much easier to steal third base off of a left-hander than it is a right-hander, because he only takes one look and he'd have to whirl, and a left-hander's delivery is a lot slower. And that's why he was able to steal second base, first of all, and again here he steals third base.
Johnson trying to hurry his throw. He made a bad throw. A good play by Bonilla to make a nice backhanded play on that low throw.
Did Justice commit himself? They check at third, and Greg Kosk says no. So the count is full.
I'll say it's always a tough call for a guy to run like that with Justice up there and 2 outs. Here's the check swing by David Justice. Yeah, he checked. Sure did. But Vizquel had such a big jump. And again, a bad throw gets you a cheap run.
Now with 2 out, Ramirez will be off from first on the 3-2 pitch. There he goes, and a called strike 3. Leiter struck out the side. Still a 2-0 game. Bottom of the order in the bottom of the 5th. Leiter, the 3rd scheduled hitter. We'll see how the inning unfolds. Johnson rips it foul. If you told Jim Leyland before this game that Al Leiter would give him 5 innings, allow 2 runs on 4 hits, and strike out 7, I think Leyland would have taken it.
Yeah. Well, you have to score some runs to win. I mean, you know, Leiter's done his job. He's kept them in the ball game. Well, Leiter will stay in if he gets the first 2 guys out and they're not in a scoring situation. You know, he'll probably let him hit. We're only in the 5th inning. It's a long way to go.
Back to the mound. Wright makes a nice play and throws him out.
There's another little sinking fastball from Jared Wright, that little 2-seamer. And Charles Johnson chopped it up along the 3rd baseline. He made an easy play on it. That's twice now that he's gotten that pitch down and in, or down and away on Johnson, and he's tried to pull it. Tough to do, really tough to do. You should really get out in front of that thing and really jerk it and be strong enough to pull it.
Counsell fly to center, and his only at bat thus far. A strike at the knees and on the inside corner.
See, that's the movement he has on that fastball. He starts it off the plate against all the left-handers, and it's moving back towards the inside corner.
Low 1-1. The Indians trying to become the first team to win Game 7 of the World Series on the road since Chuck Tanner's Pittsburgh Pirates did it to Earl Weaver's Orioles in Baltimore in 1979. The home team has won the last 5 Game 7s in the World Series. I guess you have to make that distinction now with 3 rounds of the playoffs. The 1-2 pitch.
You know what? Jared Wright has actually gotten better as this game has progressed. I mean, he's thrown a 1-hitter so far, and I mean, he's making the pitches that he has to make. When he gets in trouble, he makes the right pitch at the right time. And I mean, I am really impressed with him tonight.
Ball and 2 strikes. He comes with a changeup on Counsell that he fouls.
And another foul ball. You know, he looks so composed, and we've seen him pitch so often now through the 3 rounds of the playoffs, you can lose sight of this. Most of the kids that Jarrett Wright was at Catella High School in Anaheim, California with 3 years ago are still trying to figure out what their college major will be. He's standing on the hill in Game 7 of the World Series.
He's standing tall.
2-2. Son of former big league lefty Clyde Wright delivers his 2-2 pitch to Counsell, who smacks it foul again. Clyde Wright never came close to the World Series. The teams he was with, Angels, Rangers, Brewers, were never really close.
He did throw a no-hitter.
And won 22 games one season in the early 70s and exactly 100 victories lifetime in the majors.
There it is.
Call strike 3.
Now there's that change of pace and a heck of a job by Alomar. Sandy Alomar has really worked this kid nice. He really has. Off the inside corner, he's going with fastballs. Now watch this change of pace. Alomar is setting up inside. There you see it. Beautiful change of pace. Here it is again. Right there. Eddie Montague calls him out.
If the Marlins had something going in this inning, they might have hit for Leiter, but with 2 out and nobody on, he comes to the plate and apparently will start the 6th.
And one thing the Marlins have to keep in mind that, you know, even if they do not score here in the 5th, still a long way to go, and you can't panic. You can't start to swinging for the fences. You have to continue to play the game.
Well, he walked Leiter in the 3rd, and now, almost inexplicably, he's behind him 3-0.
Maybe the other guy should take Leiter's advice, just go up there and stand.
He takes 1, and he might be taking on 3-1 also.
He might be taking 3-2.
It's been known to happen.
Absolutely.
We'll never know. He walks for the 2nd time tonight. Meanwhile, the veteran Dennis Cook, a former Indian himself, who has been absolutely brilliant in this postseason, begins to warm up, and it won't take long to get warm tonight. A muggy 80 degrees at game time.
Now, Jared Wright, in winning game 4, walked 5. He walked 5 and struck out 5, but bases on balls got him in trouble in that game. He's walked 4 tonight, including, as you just said, Bob, Al Leiter twice.
Devon White has grounded out and struck out. Ball 1 to him. As Bob Uecker mentioned, Jarrett Wright has walked 4, but he's still allowed only 1 hit. A 1st inning double by Renteria. Now Mark Wiley takes a stroll to the mound, the pitching coach.
And the Indians bullpen is getting busy, Bob. Brian Anderson, who has done so well in this series, got the save in that game that Wright won. And when we talked to Mike Hargrove yesterday, this guy was still one of the people being considered to start. So he told us. Later on, he said he had Jarrett Wright in his mind the day before as a starter. But again, I want to get this guy. I mean, he's pitched such a fine ball game, allowed only 1 hit. And to get himself in further trouble here, Hargrove gets somebody up, Brian Anderson.
And Montague steps out from behind the plate. Time called briefly. Now the 1-0 pitch to Devon White. In the air to center. Grissom started in. Now goes back. The ball really carrying, but Marquise to the edge of the track to tuck it away. Through 5, it remains 2-0 Cleveland.
Today, instead of sitting by the window watching life go by, people are out there going the extra mile, pushing themselves beyond the norm. And no muscle ache will bring them down. No headache limit their imagination, because today we have an advanced medicine for pain called Advil. It's remarkable just how fast Advil works, right at the site of body pain, stopping it where it starts. The relief is glorious. Headaches to muscle aches. Advil relieves all kinds of pain for so many people. Advil simply lets people do what they love to do.
Dave Thomas is on the coast, asking everyone about Wendy's new fresh stuffed pitas.
Your pitas are dreamy, Dave.
I thought you liked them.
Wendy's fresh stuffed pitas, the only way to describe them is
Fabulous.
The most ruthless killer in the world.
Perfect. CIA can't track him.
And he's about to meet his match.
It's between him and me. Operation's still a go.
No! The Jackal, rated R. Starts Friday, November 14th.
We drive family sedans, 4x4s, and small city cars. We carry groceries. We carry lumber. We carry life. And we all want to feel safe doing it. Making a lot of different cars and trucks makes us, well, the car company. Making them all deliver the things that matter most makes us GM. The company you count on wherever life takes you. General Motors, people in motion.
Next Sunday at noon Eastern on the NFL on NBC, the Patriots, the Vikings. Drew Bledsoe and New England take on Brad Johnson and Minnesota in this clash of interconference powers. Or John Elway and the Broncos host Warren Moon and the Seahawks. Or regional action. The NFL on NBC next Sunday at noon Eastern.
Dudley Michael Hargrove, 48 years old today. What a way to celebrate. If he can bring Cleveland its first world championship since 1948. Hargrove was a fine player himself. The American League Rookie of the Year in 1974 when he hit .323 with Texas. A .290 career hitter who topped 300 6 different times. Remember, they dubbed him the human rain delay. He drew a lot of walks. He had a great eye for the strike zone and took a lot of pitches and was always stepping in and out of the box and going through a series of gyrations.
He always wore that batting donut on his thumb, remember?
Mm-hmm.
He always had to adjust that thing before he got back in the batter's box. He'd keep one foot in, the other foot out, adjust that batting donut on his thumb, and then get back in and hit. You know, the other thing about Hargrove, everybody talks about his hitting, Bob. He was a pretty good first baseman, too. Very good first baseman.
Started with Texas, then wound up with Cleveland, late 70s and through the mid-80s. Like his teammates Andre Thornton and Rick Manning. Rookie of the Year, Super Joe Charbonneau one year. Good players on a mediocre team. Performing in usually empty, often cold and dank municipal stadium in front of tiny crowds for a struggling franchise, and now on the verge of a world championship. Matt Williams leading it off in the top half of the 6th. A ball and a strike to him. Cleveland leads it 2-0 on the 2-run 3rd inning single by Tony Fernandez. 1-2.
2-run single by Fernandez really took the crowd out of the game for a while. But as you look around different areas of this ballpark, every time Leiter gets to 2 strikes, they're trying to get these people to get back on their feet again and get back into this game.
High 2-2. Some sort of bizarre hex being placed on Matt Williams, who fouls it away.
Now, Leiter hasn't pitched that badly either. He's given up only 4 hits. But the big base hit, 2 outs back in the 3rd by Fernandez. That's been it.
This is easily his best performance of the postseason. But it might not be good enough. Full count to Matt Williams. Alomar and Thome to follow. And he walks in to start the 6th. Folks, next Saturday at 1:30 Eastern Time, Notre Dame football continues as the midshipmen of Navy travel to South Bend to try to break a 33-game losing streak against the Irish. All things considered, this might be the year to do it. Then at 5 Eastern, Ahmad Rashad hosts the NBA preview one-on-one with analysis of the upcoming season from Bill Walton and Hubie Brown. Notre Dame football NBA preview show next Saturday beginning at 1:30 Eastern Time. Down and into Alomar.
Well, he wanted to get at least 1 more inning out of Leiter, maybe 2, but he cannot afford to fall any farther behind. So if he continues to struggle here in this inning, he's going to have to make a pitching change. And Jim Leland is watching every pitch very closely because he knows he can't wait too long.
The 1-0 to Sandy is popped up. Johnson off with the mask. Dalton in from first. Dutch takes it. Dalton's quite a story. He only played in a handful of games last year. 9 knee surgeries. At age 35, it appeared his career was over. Certainly he couldn't catch anymore. One of the toughest and most respected players of his generation, a leader on the '93 Philly pennant winners who went to the World Series against Toronto, just about ready to hang it up. Suddenly finds new life in Florida and hitting cleanup in Game 7 of the World Series. The baseball trail takes some strange twists and turns. Has walked and flied out. Ball struck.
Baseball is a different situation than any other professional sport. Where else could a guy like Jim Leland spend 20 years in the minor leagues and get a chance to lead his team to the World Championship later in his career? So not a lot of other sports offer that opportunity.
And then there's a callow kid like Jarrett Wright, who almost right out of the box is not only on a pennant winner, but on the mound for Game 7 in the World Series. 1-1.
Again, it goes back. I think a lot of it goes back to this guy's makeup. His dad, if you're talking about a big game on the line, he didn't care. Give me the ball. Talking about Clyde Wright. And despite the fact that he was not a hard thrower, he could pitch. I got a kick out of it. They asked him about if he was something like his dad. He said, only when I throw slow stuff.
2-1. Well, his dad was a left-hander who featured a screwball and couldn't throw nearly as hard as this young right-hander.
Clyde Wright's awfully proud of this kid. I talked to him earlier this year, and he said, wait till you see him. I haven't had a chance to watch this kid pitch in the big leagues yet. Clyde Wright said, wait till you see him.
And now Leiter falls behind Thome, 3-1.
And again, you know, he pitches himself into a tough situation here. He did the same with Alomar. He got the pop-up from Alomar. But he's going to have to give Thome a pitch to hit. And he can only hope that he makes an out or hits it at someone.
He bounces it to Dalton. He goes for the lead runner and gets it. On to first, double play. And with that one pitch, Leiter is out of the sixth.
I know a place.
It's a great tradition, the family reunion. And if your family lives in another state, so what? We're Americans. We pioneered. We frontiered. So go see your kin. Bring them a hand. And do it in a car so carefully crafted it's moved for life. Goes up to 100,000 miles before its first scheduled tune-up. And the only complaint you'll have is that it didn't come out sooner. The car you knew America could build. The Chevy Malibu.
I'll take you there.
My name is Anda Andre, Director of Design for Ian Schrager Hotels. I direct the creative effort of building all the hotels.
We are our worst competition, so we just have to keep up with ourselves. I think as long as you have to be competitive in the world we are living in, anything that helps, you should get.
You got your Germanic roach, your yucca roach, your classic water roach. Spitters? Oh, boy. You're the most stubborn of all breeds. Trust me, I'm very good at what I
do. It's not TV. It's HBO.
My love must be a kind of blind love. I can't see anyone but you.
Norman Feeney, Pepsi drinker for life. Pepsi, Generation Next.
Tuesday, a Frasier Halloween with a shocking discovery.
Oh, hello, Niall. What's your nose all bent out of shape about?
One of these people is about to become a parent.
There's a baby on the way.
I don't believe it.
And the words you thought you'd never hear.
Daphne, will you marry me?
A Frasier you can't miss. NBC Tuesday.
The rookie Jarrett Wright takes a 2-0 lead to the bottom of the 6th of Game 7. With Bob Uecker and Joe Morgan, Bob Costas back at Pro Player Stadium. Edgar Renteria, who has the only Florida hit off Wright, a first-inning double, leads off in the 6th.
Bob, this was kind of the situation in 1975 when I played for the Reds. And we were trailing with 12 outs to go. And this is when Sparky Anderson won the World Championship for us. He called us all together in the dugout, and he said, I want you guys to relax. I want you to use these next 12 outs to the best of our ability. He said, I don't want everyone walking up there trying to get it all back in one swing. He said, somebody get on base, bench, Perez or Morgan will hit a home run. Those were his exact words, and we relaxed and went out and played the game.
Renteria whacks one to center, but Grissom is right there. Well, eventually 2 men got on. Bill Lee hung a changeup to Doggy Perez. He hit it over the green monster and left. That tied the game. And then in the ninth, go ahead.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be the guy in that spot with the game on the line, and I was lucky enough to get a base hit. But what he said really took, made us all relax, because most guys were walking up there swinging too hard, as we've talked about Gary Sheffield doing, trying to get it all back at once. But he made us relax, and then we went out and played the game. And, of course, that's why I have a ring.
Sheffield popped up with 2 men aboard his last time up and takes a strike. Prior to that, Gary had walked for the 20th time in this postseason.
And Bobby did say Morgan. He did include me in that. I didn't just make that up.
Well, it was a little single off Jim Burton in the 9th that proved decisive. As important as any homer he ever hit.
And that's the point he was trying to make. You don't have to hit home runs to win the game, even though you're behind with 12 outs to go.
The Marlins are down to 11 outs right now. 1-2 to Sheffield.
Indians bullpen, Charles Nagy, the right-hander, the left-hander, Brian Anderson. Jarrett Wright cruising 2-0, allowed only 1 hit in this game.
Well, the scary thing is, if you're Mike Hargrove, when do you decide to take Jarrett Wright out? Do you take him out before he gets into deep trouble and bring in someone out of the bullpen when you don't know exactly what you're going to get? Or do you let him just go as long as he can?
Fastball high and away, 2-2.
Well, he told us he'd let Wright go as long as he looked like he was doing the job. He's doing it here in the 6th. But he's got Nagy and Anderson ready just in case.
Sheffield lays off the breaking ball, full count. Wright is the second hitter in the top of the 7th. So that might figure in Hargrove's thinking.
And remember, it's only a 2-0 lead. One guy gets on, and it brings a tying run to the plate. If Gary Sheffield can get on, he's going to bring up 3 straight power hitters after him.
And the other thing with Wright, you don't want him to lose this game for sure. I mean, he's pitched a great game in what really is an emergency start for him on 3 days rest. This guy has done a heck of a job.
And he strikes Sheffield out with an inside fastball.
Up and in on Gary Sheffield. He chased it. Picks up another strikeout. And again, Sheffield overswinging, trying to get one back with one swing of the bat. Watch this fastball. Inside on Sheffield. Look at Sheffield. He can't get his arms extended out. Tried to fight it off. Right through it, right past him.
And with all due respect to Gary Sheffield, as Dalton grounds one foul, maybe he could have used Sparky Anderson's words of advice, because he looks like he's trying to do too much tonight.
Right. And I think a lot of us were in that ball game, and Sparky relaxed us. And if he takes that pitch right there, it's ball 4, and Darren Dalton becomes the tying run.
1-1.
But I don't think we can say enough about Jarrett Wright. I mean, I was not convinced personally until we got to about the 3rd inning, and he has shown us that he has what it takes.
Whoa! Down goes Dalton.
Well, that was certainly not a purpose pitch on Dalton. I don't know how he got out of the way of this high inside fastball. Here it is. This one is right at the helmet of Darren Dalton.
And behind him.
Right at it, and down he goes.
Well, if nothing else, it assures him that the reflexes are still there. Heck of a way to find out, though. 2-1 pitch. Line to right. Ramirez lost it in the lights, I believe. It gets beyond him. It'll go to the wall. Dalton to second. On his way for 3. And in there.
Well, that got this crowd of 68,000 back on their feet. Dalton hits this ball to right. It's a catchable ball by Ramirez, but he obviously loses it in the lights. He lost it as he went down to make the catch. Right there, he doesn't see it anymore. That ball hit off of his glove, rolled to the wall before it was finally run down by Grissom, and a big break for Florida.
Who's 0 for 2. On the first pitch, he hoists a fly ball into shallow center. Grissom says, I'll take care of it. They had an opportunity but couldn't cash in. And now they're down to 9 outs. Runs in the top of the ninth and held on to win 14-11. Almost uniformly brilliant throughout the playoffs and World Series. If Cook had a business card, it might read, have left arm, will travel. San Francisco, Philadelphia, the Dodgers, the Indians twice, the White Sox, the Rangers, now the Marlins. And at age 35, still very effective. Grissom, the first man to face him in the 7th.
I always wonder why this guy moved around as much as he does. Or as he did. He throws hard, got a good curveball, and I mean, he's more often than not a situation pitcher. He's been brought in to face left-handed hitters from time to time, but he's done a great job in the postseason.
A ball and a strike. The pitcher's spot is due next. In the air to deep right. Sheffield chases this one to the track and takes it astride in front of the wall. Grissom hit it a long way the opposite way. And Jarrett Wright will bat for himself.
Well, he should get a big hand, but I don't know if he will from this partisan crowd. But everyone should appreciate what he's done so far tonight.
It's a bit harder to find charity in your heart when you're losing Game 7 or appreciation when you're losing Game 7 of the World Series. Wright has sacrificed and struck out.
Well, for anybody who thought this guy was too young or the pressure might be too great for him, he's answered that tonight.
1-1.
If I had one thing to say about, the players today, it is that they have no fear. And I think that's great that they can walk in and just step on the mound and throw a great game in Game 7, and he has done.
A ball and 2 strikes to him. If you're looking way ahead, Jarrett Wright did not pitch 9 innings in any game anywhere this year. Not with the Akron Arrows of AA ball in the Eastern League, where he started the season in April. Not with the Buffalo Bisons AAA ball, where he went after Akron. And not in any of his starts for the Indians after he was called up to the big leagues on June 24th. On the inside corner, and Ed Montague punches him out. And if Wright has any difference of opinion with that, he's wise not to express it because he wants those pitches when he's throwing them.
Well, that wasn't a bad pitch. That was a fastball around the inside corner on Jared Wright. Eddie Montague liked it. He's gone. That's a strikeout for Cook. But, again, Bob, I just can't see Mike Hargrove letting this guy go the distance in this game, or even getting himself into a jam where he might lose the game. I just think, you know, this guy has done such a great job. You know, if he does go out for the next inning and does allow a runner, I think you got to have somebody ready and get him out of there.
As you saw from that quick glimpse at the line score, he's still working on a one-hitter. Because rather amazingly, the ball Dalton hit has been scored a 3-base error rather than a triple. There's a possibility that scoring could be reversed.
Well, it should
if they reconsider.
Well, first of all, Dalton hit the ball hard. It was a sinking line drive, and he lost the ball in the lights. He tried to make a sliding catch. I mean, you're penalizing two people there, the guy that hit it and the guy that tried to catch it. And all trying to protect, I guess, the pitcher, because that should have been a base hit.
Cook's 2-0 pitch to Vizquel is a strike. Well, as it turned out, Dalton didn't score, so it wouldn't have any effect on the earned run average of Jared Wright, if that's a consideration at all.
Well, one of the things to remember, this is a football stadium in right field. They do have problems with the lights all the time.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on in the top of the 7th. The 2-run single by Tony Fernandez in the 3rd, still holding up.
Well, this big crowd, 68,000 plus. They haven't had much to holler about, but they want Cook to finish off Vizquel.
It wouldn't be a major sports event without the Goodyear blimp. In this case, the Stars and Stripes. Our thanks to Captain Thomas for the many spectacular shots provided for tonight's telecast from Pro Player Stadium. The fans settle back in after the 7th inning stretch, and Bobby Bonilla launches one to deep right. Bonilla sends one out of here.
Take a look at this pitch that Bonilla hit against Wright. This looks like it's a high changeup. That's exactly what it is. I mean, that thing's right in the wheelhouse, waist high, and Bonilla hit it out.
Well, more importantly than just getting him within 1 run, that tells Jared Wright that he can be hurt. And until you prove to a pitcher that you can hurt him, his confidence will never waver.
Well, the Indians' bullpen is busy. Mark Wiley making sure they're ready down there. It's Nagy and Anderson again.
And his 2-1 pitch to Johnson. Fouled back.
In talking a moment ago about Jared Wright and Mike Hargrove, he's pitched a great ball game here tonight. And in talking about not letting this kid lose the game, if indeed he does give up a run, which he did, with the home run by Bonilla, to have somebody ready and get him in there.
A different left-hander up now. Ossenmacher rather than Anderson, along with Nagy. They come to their feet in anticipation of the 3-2 pitch from Wright to Johnson. Struck him out. Well, there's an indication of what Wright is made of.
You're right. Another fastball up and out of the strike zone, but you know, this kid never stops throwing. I mean, he turns this pitch loose. 3-2, he doesn't hold back. He doesn't try to just throw a strike. He throws his best stuff, and Johnson can't catch up with it.
Counsell is 0 for 2. A ball to him. Dennis Cook, who happens to be an exceptionally good hitting pitcher, is in the on-deck circle, but we'll see.
Now, if Wright doesn't take care of Counsell here, I think you can see Hargrove make the move. I mean, I think he has to make the move. Even though it's Cook next, I still think if he walks this guy, he's got to make a move.
Well, he wouldn't make the move until they sent up a pinch hitter anyway.
It's 3-0. Will take at least one. And it's off the outside corner. Ball 4. Cliff Floyd has a bat. There he is. And we'll see what Hargrove does after Floyd is announced.
Well, Jim Leland knows if he brings in Paul Ossenmacher, or if he makes a change, he has Conine ready. And I think that's what they're going to do, because Nagy is sit down now. And there comes Hargrove.
And maybe that's why he sends up Floyd rather than Eisenreich, because he doesn't want to lose Eisenreich without having him swing the bat. He sends up a guy who he'd rather sacrifice.
Exactly.
Hargrove takes the ball from Wright. Wow, but man, oh man. Something to remember. He leaves leading to Game 7. Wright is removed for Ossenmacher. Floyd had been announced as the pinch hitter. He's called back. The right-handed hitting Kurt Abbott, who batted .274 during the regular year with 6 home runs, will be sent up to face Ossenmacher.
Bob, you said this will be something to remember. Well, Game 7 will always give you something to remember.
First one to Abbott is a ball.
The Indians bullpen that was so brilliant against Baltimore in that series has been touched in the World Series. They've been hit. They've given up some big runs, including Ossenmacher.
His 1-0 pitch is in there. Jarrett Wright lasted 6 1/3. Allowed only 2 hits, but one of them was the long home run leading off this inning on the first pitch by Bobby Bonilla. He struck out 7, he walked 5, allowed 1 run, and Counsell at first is his responsibility. Bouncing ball foul.
Well, this is the time that Jim Leland has a lot of decisions to make. And one is, does he put Counsell in motion? Do you try to manufacture a run as a manager, or do you let the players play? He has that decision to make right now.
On 1 and 2, Abbott hits one in the air to right. Ramirez drifts back. He's got it lined up. Counsell tags, but just to draw a throw.
Manny Ramirez had a beat on that fly ball the minute it left the bat. Drifted back into right center and made an easy play. Taking a look at the lights, and they are different here. They are different than you normally see in a baseball field. And he made the error back in the 6th, but here an easy play. Let's see what we're talking about.
Well, in Cleveland, 14-11, 10-3, 8-7. Then we come back here for games 6 and 7, and pitching and defense take over. 4-1 last night. 2-1 in the 7th tonight in game 7.
And for those of you who are wondering why he used Kurt Abbott instead of Conine, he's going to have another shot to use him later in the ballgame. They didn't want to use him up this early.
Jim Leland, who came so close in the league championship series when he managed the Pirates, losing it 3 straight years. The losses to the Braves in 91 and 92 especially gut-wrenching. In 91, he led 3 games to 2. Dropped games 6 and 7 at home in Pittsburgh. And then the next year was the tale of Francisco Cabrera. Breaking ball drops in for a strike. As he put it before this game, if you're not at least a little nervous, if you don't have butterflies, you're in the wrong business. Something wrong with you. 2-2. This is what you play for.
Yeah, this is what it all boils down to, Bob. At the start of spring training, every club, those who have got the chance to win, and despite what happens throughout the course of the season, this is it right here. Everything's right here. Every player, every coach, their families, everything else.
A full count. So now, Counsell, who runs pretty well, will take off on the pitch. Justice buried deep in left. Might be able to get into the gap and cut a potential extra base hit off before it gets to the wall. Counsell leaves, and White grounds it foul.
Paul Assenmacher, who has such a great curveball, he threw 3 curveballs to start White off in this particular at-bat. They're on a 3-2. Throws the fastball, and White hits it foul. Don't be surprised if he throws a breaking ball.
White's 0 for 3 tonight. And now he's 0 for 4. Assenmacher comes in, retires the 2 hitters he faces, and keeps it a 2-1 game.
Assenmacher down low and inside. A 3-2 curveball. Yep, there's Jared Wright. You betcha. Yep. Leading 2-1 in the 8th.
Antonio Alfonseca, the 25-year-old from the Dominican Republic, is the new pitcher for the Florida Marlins. Big guy, 6'5", 235. Throws very hard. Tony Fernandez turns around, bats left-handed, takes a strike. There's a chance that when we look back on the 1997 season, the 2 biggest hits for the Cleveland Indians will have been delivered not by David Justice, not by Sandy Alomar, not by Marquise Grissom, but by Tony Fernandez. Check swing back to the mound. And Fernandez is out this time, 1-3. But as we mentioned earlier, it was his home run that won the pennant in Game 6 at Baltimore. And his line drive single to center in the 3rd inning tonight that produced 2. And so far, by the slimmest of margins, it's holding up. 2-1 in the 8th.
Right fielder, Matty Ramirez.
Ramirez 0 for 1 with a pair of walks, hitting only 174 in the series. But that's a little deceptive. He has 2 home runs, and last night he had a pair of sacrifice flies. Jackson, who pitched 2 innings last night, has, as the cliche goes, all winter to rest. Give him the ball. possibly to work the 8th. Hoping to set it up from Mesa in the 9th. 2-1.
Well, Fonseca is going to have to hold him here. That's his job. If he can come in and record, you know, maybe a 1-2-3 inning and let them get right back on offense, they'll have a chance. He cannot afford to give up any runs this late in the ball game.
Fastball foul back. And you think about the way things go. Things you could never expect to turn out this way. Al Fonseca wasn't even on the original postseason roster for either the division series or the NLCS against the Braves. It was only after Alex Fernandez was disabled with the rotator cuff injury that they had a 25th spot left for the World Series roster and gave it to Al Fonseca. Now Leland has so much confidence in him that he lets him work in the 8th inning of a 1-run game. Justice on deck. Fastball on the outside corner, and Ramirez sits down.
Well, Fonseca's another one of those guys, very hard thrower. He doesn't mess around very much. Shook off Johnson a couple of times. He wanted to throw heat. Here's that last fastball on Ramirez. In the 90s, on the outside corner, Eddie Montague pulls back on him.
Now Justice, who all of a sudden is struggling in this World Series. Grounded out and struck out twice tonight.
That tells you how bad David Justice is struggling right there. Normally, you don't see Justice go after those kinds of pitches on the first offering anyway.
Chopper to the right side. Al Fonseca will have to cover. Dalton pegs it over there, showing that catcher's arm at first base. And Al Fonseca does work. A perfect 8th. Renteria will start it, followed by Sheffield and Dalton in the last of the 8th. Edgar has doubled, walked, and flied to center. And takes ball 1. A slider is tapped back to the mound. Renteria never got out of the box. He stumbled after hitting the ball. 1 out in the 8th. Folks, don't miss this week's Mad About You.
Tuesday, a baby out of control. If they don't keep moving, the baby explodes in tears. Based on actual events.
As for the World Series, Sheffield steps in with 1 out and nobody on. He has 3 postseason homers, 1 in the World Series.
Jim Gray told us in between innings that Jerry Manuel went up and told Gary Sheffield to relax a little bit. And I feel that it's tough for him to relax today because he's the one that Jim Gray said made that emotional speech before the ball game about trying to win this for Jim Leland. And when you do that, you want to go out and lead the parade. And I think he's just tried a little bit too hard so far tonight.
On the inside corner, good pitch from Jackson, 0-2.
I think Sheffield that time may have been looking for something away that fastball or slider. Jackson's got a great slider. He threw a fastball sinker on the inside corner, and Sheffield took it.
Now the 0-2 pitch is fouled off.
Well, there's a slider you don't want to mess around with too much. That was a hanger on the inside, and Sheffield a little bit tardy on it and fouled it back. I thought when Alomar went inside, I thought he wanted a sinker or something hard on the fists of Sheffield, but he threw that slider and it hung in there.
And now Jackson wants a new baseball. Veteran in the biggest spot of his career to Sheffield and strikes him out. Sheffield walks away 0 for 3 on the night. Strikeouts his last 2 trips.
Well, he's thrown all the pitches inside. Now he goes away. This pitch starts over the middle of the plate and moves away from Sheffield. Actually was right on it and not a bad swing. He just missed it.
Sheffield upset at himself. He had the cut and missed it. That was a slider and stayed right there for him. But Mike Hargrove's going to make another pitching change here with Brian Anderson coming up.
He goes to the young left-hander to face the veteran left-handed swinger. Leland has countered Hargrove's move by doing what you might expect. He calls the left-handed hitter Dalton back, sends up Jeff Conine to face Brian Anderson with 2 out and nobody on. And he fouls the first pitch off.
And this is the reason he didn't use Conine in the 7th inning when he had a chance, and he used Abbott instead. Most managers try to save their 2 best pinch hitters, Jim Eisenreich and Conine in this case, for the last 2 innings. But you don't have that luxury today. I think I would have used Conine in the 7th inning personally, but I understand his motivation behind saving it.
Inside 1-1 to the original Marlin. He and reserve Alex Arias are the only 2 left from the first team they fielded in 1993, and Conine's the only guy left among those they selected in the expansion draft to stock their club. 1-2.
Conine last night hit the ball hard in that loss for the Marlins. Super catch by Grissom on that ball that he hit deep to left center. At the wall, he made the basket catch over the shoulder to Rob Conine.
Interesting statistic there. 6 home runs after entering the game in the 7th inning.
2-2. Brian Anderson was very effective in Game 4 at Jacobs Field. In fact, picked up the save in the game. Conine fights it off and fouls it into the seats.
Well, this is the only hitter he will face in this ball game, no matter what happens. If Conine gets a base hit, he's gone. If he gets him out, he's gone. So this will be his one and only appearance. And because Jose Mesa is the next guy that you're going to bring in. Because if he gets on base, Lou represents the go-ahead run, and he will bring Mesa in for him.
Still 2-2. Conine hits 17 home runs this year. Rally caps are out. And this ball is hit high in the air to left, but he got under it, and Justice goes into foul ground to take it. Conine's expression says it all. They're down to 3 outs.
If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand.
Peace of mind from Buick LeSabre.
That's a tasty looking burger.
Yeah, it's a Whopper. Extra pickles.
Give you $5 for it.
10. No, 11.
$22.50.
50 cash money.
36F has a Whopper.
You say Whopper?
I'll double. I double is double.
I'll marry you. I'll give you my plane right now.
I'll let you fly the plane.
I'll let you land it.
Really? I wonder what this button does. Being a catcher's no walk in the park.
Take Mike Piazza. This guy's a human target for a flamethrower. Even foul tips to the mask go at the territory. And he's got to handle pitches, pickoffs, and pop-ups. Not to mention you with freight trains coming at him spikes first. You're out! Try telling Mike Piazza baseball isn't a contact sport.
Find the most up-to-date postseason coverage anywhere. Video clips, daily chats, live press conferences. Log on to MLBWorldSeries.com.
A woman brought in dying. Her surgeon is suspected in a gruesome crime.
We're getting ready to take her organ.
And certainly not tonight. Game 7, a taut 2-1 struggle into the ninth. Alfonseca to Williams, ball 1. Alomar and Thome will follow. Out of play.
If you're Mike Hargrove, you're just hoping to be able to get an insurance run any kind of way here to make it much easier for Mesa in the ninth.
Because with just a 1-run margin, any single pitch to an Alou, a Bonilla, even a Charles Johnson, and the lead could disappear.
You know, we've talked so much about the bullpens. Both of these bullpens in the World Series, and they've been touched for some runs, but tonight, in this final game, they've been good. Starter Jared Wright outstanding.
The 2-1 pitch is high. You know, we mentioned the curse of Rocky Colavito, but even in recent years, in a sense, this has been a star-crossed franchise. In 1993, one of the most tragic events in baseball history occurred to the Cleveland Indians when pitchers Steve Olin and Tim Cruz were killed in a boating accident in Florida during spring training, and another pitcher, Bob Ojeda, was very seriously injured. Ball 4 to Williams. He's aboard to start the ninth. Keith Olbermann asked Mike Hargrove how often he thinks of Steve Olin and Tim Cruz now, 4 years later. He says every day. Not a day goes by. In 1994, they finally had a contending team. The strike washed out the season. In 95, they had one of the best single-season teams in recent history. 100 victories, 44 losses. Lost in 6 in the World Series. Last year, they had the highest victory total in the American League, 99. Bouncing ball to short. Renneria charging. Has trouble getting it out of his glove, and so they'll get only one as Williams takes care of Counsell on the pivot. It could have been a double play.
Great job by Williams to get down there and put the pressure on Counsell. The only problem is Counsell stays at the bag, come to the ball, be a moving target. See, Williams knows exactly where to find him. But you're right, Renteria bobbles the ball, but he did the right thing. He charged it, but he couldn't get it out of his glove quick enough. But Counsell's got to move across the bag and make himself a moving target.
He didn't even look like he was on the bag at any time, Joe, when he took that toss from Renteria. He didn't look like he was on the bag at all.
With the left-handed hitting Thome Do, Alfonseca exits and are very effective in this World Series, including 2 innings last night. But Thome immediately rips one through the right side for a hit. And Alomar's going to try for third and make it ahead of Sheffield's throw.
Great hustle there by Alomar. As soon as that ball was hit, he made up his mind. He was going to try to get the third with less than 2 outs. And that's very important. This is a very big play here. Gary Sheffield charged quickly, but look at Alomar, catcher, running, but he made up his mind. Look at this. He doesn't hesitate at all. Right around to third base. He knows how important this run is, so he gets over there and gets himself in the scoring position.
And now how important is it that they didn't turn that potential double play? Leland is out talking to Montague, giving the appearance that they're going to make a double switch.
You know, Jim Thome last night had such trouble with Heredia. I asked him today before the game started. I said, what about Heredia last night? He said, I'm telling you, that guy can rush it up there in a hurry. Tonight, facing Heredia, he lines a bullet to right field and puts runners at first and third.
Conine has left the field, as has Heredia, the pitcher. Eisenreich comes in to play first base, and Rob Nen comes trotting out of the bullpen. So Nen will be inserted in the 4th spot, vacated by Conine, the last man to bat, in the bottom of the 8th. And Eisenreich will be slotted 9th, meaning he would hit if as many as 5 men get to the plate in the bottom of the 9th.
Your attention, players, for the Marlins.
Rob Nen, who has been the closer for Jim Leland. Here you see what he's done. 3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 runs. His control has been a problem for him. I mean, he has no movement on his fastball. He's a very hard thrower, but he got hit very hard in the series.
In the 9th innings of games 3 and 5, he was more arsonist than fireman, nearly squandering huge leads. But over the course of the season, in fact, the last few seasons, he's been one of baseball's best.
And they need a strikeout right here, so Rob Nen is their strikeout pitcher. He brings him in hopes that he can throw a fastball by Marquise Grissom. They've pounded Grissom in the entire ball game, so look for him to try to come up with his fastball and try to just throw it by Grissom. That's about the only chance they have right now. Because if one more run scored, it's just going to be awfully tough to get 2 off of Mesa in the 9th.
Speaking of the Indians again, it would be ironic if after failing to win the World Series with a team that was pretty clearly baseball's best in 1995, then failing to even get out of the division series last year with a team that won 99 tops in the American League, if they win it all with a club that had the 4th best record of all the qualifiers for the American League playoffs, just 86 wins, but they have played very well, as have the Marlins, when it's counted most in the playoffs and now the World Series. Alomar at 3rd. Thome, who singled at first. 1 out, top of the 9th. The Indians haven't scored since Fernandez played at 2 with his single in the 3rd. They lead it 2-1. Grissom takes a ball with the infield in.
Well, they're playing halfway, Bob,
yeah.
Because what happens if he hits a ball sharply to shortstop, they will try to turn 2. If he hits it sharply to second base, they'll try to turn 2. But if they have to charge the ball, they'll come to the plate.
A ball and a strike.
There's the good fastball from Nen, starting him off fastball upstairs. That one right down the middle. And Grissom had a nice cut and fouled it back. Playing him deep slightly to pull in the outfield, despite the fact that Nen throws hard in that high 90 range.
And Johnson has to backhand it to save a wild pitch.
Good play by Charles Johnson on a low outside fastball. You've got to be ready for it all the time. You've got to anticipate, no matter what you call fastball, breaking ball, that he may throw one wide. You've got to be ready, and he did. Made a nice play on it.
Now the 2-1. A bouncing ball, potential double play. Now Renteria comes to the plate, and Johnson with the tag on Alomar.
Well, Renteria had trouble getting it out of his glove again, but he made the right play. If you have to, he came charging in, so he's going to have a tough throw back to second base to start the double play. So watch this. He makes the right play because, watch, he has to come get it. Now, if he has to try to flip it behind him, it's tough. Had trouble getting it out, puts a little pressure on Johnson at the plate. He scoops it and makes the tag.
Charles Johnson almost gave Alomar too much of the plate. That throw got there, and he just did get the tag on Alomar. Alomar, I think, a little surprised he didn't go for the double play, but with the speed of Grissom and Renteria bobbled that ball momentarily, they may not have been able to turn it.
Now they go to Brian Giles off the bench, and on the first pitch he fouls it off.
Renteria made the right play because you cannot afford to go for 2 and miss it and give up another run.
Especially with Grissom running out of the box. So now Grissom is at first. Thome is at second with 2 out. And they'll need a hit from Giles if they're to get this insurance run. High 1-1. stands to be the winner in Game 7 of the World Series. But only if Mesa can protect it in the bottom of the ninth. In the air to left, Alou has the play. It's a one-run game as we go 3,500 and 4,000 through all the lean years, cheering for Chico Simone and Max Alvis, Daddy Wags Wagner and Dick Davalio, Jack Kralik and Southern Sam McDowell, for all the people who have waited since 1948 for the Indians to be world champions. Meanwhile, Jim Leyland has waited through 34 seasons in professional baseball for this, 12 of them as a major league manager. He needed to win one over the last two nights. Beaten 4-1 in Game 6. Trailing 2-1 as his team comes up for its last licks in Game 7. Mesa saved it last night. Alou will be first. All three of those postseason homers for him are in this World Series.
Well, the thing to do is still be patient. Make sure you get a pitch to hit.
Mesa from the stretch. Down low.
And he's got an outstanding fastball. He starts Alou off with a curve.
Swing and a miss. It falls softly in there for a leadoff hit. Alou just hooked it, but it got the job done.
Well, over swinging his first few times up. Watch this one. Here's another curveball from Jose Mesa. Alou just went down, didn't overswing, took a nice easy swing at that ball and drops it in the left center for a base hit. And the tying run is on here in the ninth.
It landed with all the force of a fluttering feather. But it could really count here in the ninth. Bonilla homered his last time up. And fouls this one to the seats and left.
Not a good swing there by Bobby Bonilla. If you're not looking for the fastball, take it. You do not want to waste your last at bat in Game 7.
He may never have swung harder at a pitch in his life.
Fastball right by him. I think it would have been okay to take that swing on the first strike, but not to get yourself into the hole. Now it's 0-2. But you know what? It's very easy up here.
Isn't it, though?
The 0-2 pitch. Taken low.
Let's see if Mesa comes back with that breaking ball. He's got a devastating curveball. Kind of got rid of the split-fingered fastball. It was a problem pitch for him. Always throwing bad pitches in the dirt. He kind of got rid of it and has really relied on an overhand curveball. It's very sharp and really dives down.
Blocked by Alomar, who springs back up out of that crouch and eyes Alou at first.
Beautiful play by Alomar. That's the pitch I was talking about. This overhand curve by Mesa only drops it about 58 feet in front of Alomar, and a beautiful block. That's a tough play for Sandy Alomar. That ball got up under his mask. Knocked it down, though, and kept Alou at first.
Alou at first with only the third hit of the night for the Marlins. The 2-2 to Bonilla. Full count.
What do you do if you're Jim Leland? Do you send Alou from first and risk a strikeout, throw him out, or do you play it safe?
Not going. And a line drive. Foul.
And Alou not running on the pitch. This ball hit by Bonilla, foul to right. He got out in front of it a little bit. That's a breaking ball. Mesa threw that pitch down low and inside. Bonilla got out in front of it and lines it foul to right. We'll do it again.
Hargrove told us that with a one-run lead in the bottom of the 11th in Baltimore, he couldn't bear to watch. He actually positioned himself so he didn't have a view of the pitcher's mound. But that was game 6. He had some margin of error. Not here. Again, not going. And fouled at the plate.
Well, Mesa's let him see everything he's got in this at-bat. He's seen the curveball, fastball. That one he fouled off of his foot. Trying to walk it off. Bonilla still bothered by that hamstring problem. Take a little extra time to try and get some feeling back in that foot.
Bonilla with Leland. All those years in Pittsburgh. This is the biggest at-bat Bobby Bonilla has ever had in his career, as Jim Leland's wife, Katie, looks on. Mesa looks Alou back. Struck him out. So Bonilla, who had homered his last time, goes down swinging on the 3-2 pitch in the 9th.
Well, it was not a strike, but it's very tough to wait for a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and make up your mind, and that's what Mesa throws here. Good, hard fastball. It's down and out of the strike zone, but Bonilla had to go for it.
Charles Johnson 0 for 3. Takes a ball. I don't care how much the game changes. When it gets to its essence, there's a connection through all the years. And now Mesa and each of these hitters stand where Alexander and Lazzari stood, where Terry and Mazeroski stood, where Terry and Willie McCovey stood 2 days later, 2 years later. The 1-0 pitch is a strike.
Well, this is what it's all about, Bob. You're right. I mean, guys like Mesa, they talk about big money, big-time relievers. This is what it boils down to right here, on the line.
One and 2 to Johnson. Craig Counsell is on deck. A line drive to right that drops for a hit. Alou is on his way to third. Ramirez has no play. Runners at the corners with one out.
Seen Jarrett Wright come of age tonight. We've also seen Charles Johnson in this series. Here's another young player with no fear. 2 outs, 2 strikes in the ninth, I should say. And he singles to right field. Moises Alou knows he has to get to third base. He doesn't hesitate at all. Ramirez should have thrown the ball to second base. He throws toward third, but Alou is safely in at third, and now they need a fly ball.
Greg Zahn, their backup catcher, who runs better than Johnson, replaces him at first base. Nagy, who might have started this game 7. Instead, it was the rookie Jarrett Wright. Gets up again in the bullpen. And if you told Craig Counsell, the rookie out of Notre Dame, that his season would come down to this, he would have had to have believed you were joking. Ball 1.
Show some patience. Get a pitch to hit.
Infield playing halfway again. Fernandez up at second. Vizquel at shortstop playing shallow.
Mesa's 1-0 pitch.
Well, one thing about the Indians infield, they're not playing shallow enough to come to the plate. They're playing for a double play. You have to come in 2 more steps in order to come to the plate. They can't come to the plate from where they're positioned.
The 1-1 pitch. A deep drive to right. Ramirez on the run. Makes the catch. Tagging is Alou. Game 7 of the World Series is tied.
But he made sure he got a pitch that he could get in the air, and that was the main thing. Just stay out of the double play is all he had to do. And he got a pitch to hit, and he got it in the air. Look at that. He drops his back shoulder and makes sure he gets that ball in the air. I told you I've been impressed with him the entire series, and he does a great job here.
Yes, he says Alou scored. Come on. Low fastball from Mesa, and he was right on it.
Now Eisenreich hitting ninth after the double switch in the top of the inning. then with the Twins, the Royals, the last 4 years with the Phillies. A career .294 hitter. A bouncing ball toward Fernandez. Extra innings in Game 7. Played college ball at Notre Dame. Nobody's surefire prospect. A guy who hoped to simply make it to the major leagues. Found himself at the plate with 2 men on in the bottom of the 9th in Game 7. And hit it right on the nose to deep right. Ramirez caught it, but Alou tagged and scored. The run that pushes this game into extra innings. Zahn ran for Charles Johnson. This could become a factor. Johnson, along with Pudge Rodriguez of the Rangers, one of the best throwing catchers in the game, maybe the best. A guy like Vizquel will run if he gets on. How good a thrower is Zahn?
Zahn's been around for a while, Bob. He's a veteran catcher. He's nowhere near what Johnson is. He's adequate. Again, it's a problem with a pitcher holding a runner. You give him a chance, he's going to throw you out.
The 1-1 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes.
And this is when Nen is at his best, when he uses more than just the fastball. Good breaking ball there for strike 2.
Fouled off. And I don't care how much of a professional you are. Everybody on this field has to be thinking about the plays they make hundreds of times a year. But in extra innings in Game 7 of the World Series, are any of those plays ever routine?
No, I don't think so, but you have to concentrate. This is where the players who concentrate the best come to the top.
Vizquel is down on strikes.
Big out there, because if he could have gotten on base, he could have caused some problems for the Marlins.
This pitch a little bit inside, off the inside corner against Vizquel. It looked like Nen may have taken a little something off a fastball and gets the big strikeout. Leadoff guy is gone.
For a while, Fernandez thought he might have had the hit that won the World Series. His 2-run single in the 3rd stood up until the 9th. And what about the umpires? In a time where their work comes under increased scrutiny. You don't want to be the guy to miss one.
Eddie Montague's done a super job behind the plate tonight. Nobody moaning and groaning. Maybe once or twice a player looked back at him, but other than that, he's called a heck of a game.
In the bottom of the 10th, the Marlins will have the top of the order. White, Renteria, Sheffield. Overthrown that one.
Well, Zahn wanted a high fastball. He wanted a fastball around the letters on Fernandez. Nen really reaching back. And Zahn up into the air to pull that one down.
Two and two. And it holds there.
Tony Fernandez a little upset at himself that he chased that high fastball. Threw it up in the high 90s. You can't get up on top of that thing. Fouled off the best you can do. Fernandez upset.
Hits it through the hole the opposite way for a one-out hit. Tony Fernandez, the one-time Gold Glove shortstop for the Blue Jays. On the Yankee roster last year, but missed the whole season with an elbow problem. Finds new life in Cleveland, and what a factor he's been in the postseason. Ramirez, 0 for 2 with a pair of walks tonight. Top of the 10th. Cleveland 2, Florida 2, Game 7. And Ramirez fouls it off. Tony Saunders, Game 4 starter. Didn't do very well at all on that occasion. Up in the bullpen. Nen's 0-1 pitch. Fouled off right side. And it's 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Struck him out. Second strikeout of the inning for Nen, with the Fernandez single sandwiched in between.
Number 23, left fielder, David Johnson.
Justice is 0 for 4. 2 years ago, he won the World Series for Atlanta with a home run, but that was in Game 6. All strike.
Doing a wise thing. He's making sure that he checks Tony Fernandez before every pitch. Most relievers do not hold runners very well. I should say most closers.
And you think back to the insurance run the Indians didn't get in the top of the ninth. Pitch. Big cut and a miss, 0-2. When they had runners at first and third with one out. And Grissom bounced to Renteria, who elected to come to the plate to get Alomar. That kept it a 2-1 game. And Council's sacrifice fly on the bottom half tied it.
That signal you saw from Jim Leland is telling the Bill live for the delayed steal.
Pitch struck him out, then comes in and strikes out the side. And we're back after these messages from your local station. Mindful of what he has left on the bench, which isn't much. Arias and Cangelosi. Mesa to White in the bottom of the 10th. Ball one.
One thing that he's got going is the top of the order here in the 10th inning with White, Renteria, and then Sheffield against Jose Mesa.
One and one to White. He's grounded out, struck out, flied out, and struck out again. Off-speed breaking ball for a strike. White has pretty much owned Mesa in his American League days. That one sails high and wide. 2-2. And look at this. Tommy Lasorda, who threw out the first pitch before Game 7 tonight, once used Hershiser out of the bullpen in a memorable LCS game at Shea Stadium in 1988 between his Dodgers and the Mets. Part of LA's miracle run to the World Championship that year. The 2-2 pitch. Through the middle, off the leg of Mesa to Vizquel, on to first, got him. 1-6-3.
Well, this ball was bound for center field. Devon White hit it sharply, and it caromed off of Mesa to shortstop. See, he doesn't have a chance to field it, but it's off his leg and bounces to Omar Vizquel, and if you hit it that way, you're usually going to be out.
Since his first inning double, Renteria has walked, flied out, and tapped to the mound. Ball one.
It's important for Renteria to try to get on base any kind of way, because otherwise if Sheffield hits with 2 outs, the pitcher's on deck, and they will not have to give in to him.
Hit hard and through the left side.
Big base hit for Renteria, who had been struggling, because now it forces them to have to pitch to Sheffield. They do not want to end up putting the winning run at second base. But with 2 outs if he's pitching to Sheffield, they would have pitched around him because the pitcher's spot is on deck.
Late in the tie game or in extra innings, the third baseman usually is guarding the line to protect against an extra base hit. If Williams is off the line, as good a fielder as he is, maybe he has a shot at that ball. The pitcher's spot comes up next after a double switch, and that's Cangelosi, the switch hitter on deck. Sheffield 0 for 3 with a walk. Takes a ball.
Play again by Alomar. Gary Sheffield earlier tonight addressed the players in a very emotional speech and talked about winning this thing and winning it for Jim Leland. And here he is in the 10th.
Mace's 1-0 pitch is in there.
Talked about Gary earlier tonight. He's had some major cuts and pitches that weren't in his zone and really over swinging. Charlie Manuel talked to him a couple of times about settling himself down and just doing the normal thing.
Alomar now is going to stroll out and talk it over with Mesa.
I tell you what, this is more luck than
That's
being
luck.
good.
You got that right.
Yeah, this is just, I mean, he just makes a wild stab at this, and he finds in the glove. I mean, that is just a tough play to make.
That would be an in-between hop for an infielder. That's what that was for Alomar.
He didn't have time to shift his body over.
That's twice in the inning that he's made grabs on pitches in the dirt. Mark Wiley, the Indians pitching coach, heading out there to talk with Mesa once again. That really is a tough play. Again, it's all luck on that one.
67,000 seats were sold for this game. Just about none of them are in use right now. Almost everyone's standing.
Including ours.
Including us,
yeah. We're not using ours either.
Nagy joins Hershiser. You can, Joe, if your hearts are pounding anything like mine is, we can only guess what it feels like for that guy. And for Leland in the other dugout. The 2-1 from Mesa to Sheffield. Hop back foul.
Well, at this point, the players are probably the less nervous of anybody, least nervous of anybody in this ballpark. Because the players can do something about it. People that are standing around, the managers, they can't do anything about it.
Look at Jose Mesa. You wouldn't think anything was wrong. They were out there talking to him. Everything is normal as far as he's concerned. He's been here before in this kind of a jam, talking about late innings, extra innings.
The 2-2. Again blocked by Alomar. And the count is full. Now with one out, do you send Renteria?
I run him.
I agree with you.
I run him. And again, a pat on the back to Alomar. Unless you've been back there and you get eaten up a few times by pitches like that. And Jose Mesa is not the easiest kind of a guy to catch. He really isn't. Those pitches in the dirt eat you up. That time he got out in front and knocked that one down.
The reason I run him because if I don't score here, I don't want Nin out of the ball game. Try to give myself a chance to score right here.
He goes, and Sheffield grounds it to the left side. It's a tough play, and Vizquel will eat it. Sheffield is aboard with an infield hit.
There's the reason he's running. Maybe, just maybe, if he's not running, Vizquel may have a play at second, but that was the only play he had as Gary Sheffield hits this ball to the hole. There it is again. Renteria moves. And the pitch hit by Sheffield to the hole. Now watch Vizquel. His only chance, if Renteria is not running, would have been to go to second. Sheffield hits this ball to the hole. So Vizquel takes a look. Nobody there. And they've got 2 on now with only 1 out. Good move by Leland to send Renteria.
Up comes Cangelosi. Mesa's first one is down and in.
It's Sandy Alomar. Another tough play for him. And the first thing on his mind, hey, take it easy to Jose Mesa. Don't worry about it. Throw strikes. I'll take care of things back here. Throw strikes.
Cangelosi, 34-year-old, well-traveled veteran, switch hitter. A good pinch hitter through the years. Swings and misses. Meanwhile, if the Marlins don't score, they're without Nen when we go to the 11th. That's a strike. 1 and 2.
And the fact that they're without Nen, if they do not score, is the reason he had to put Renteria in motion. So if Sheffield did find a gap, he could win the ball game. You want to make sure you give yourself a chance to win it in this inning because, like you say, you don't have Nen anymore.
Sheffield at first. Renteria, with the run that matters, leads away from second. Mesa's 1-2 pitch to Cangelosi. Taken high. The 2-2 pitch. A full count to Cangelosi, who walks away to gather himself. Thousands of at-bats through all the years, with all the different teams for a journeyman like Cangelosi. And now an at-bat like this in Game 7 of the World Series. 2 on, 1 out. Bottom of the 10th. 2-2 game. And a 3-2 pitch on the way. But not before Mesa wheels and looks Renteria back. The 3-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Cangelosi had started toward first, hopeful that he'd work the walk.
The gutsy call by Alomar here. This is a breaking ball.
Number 18, the left fielder.
And Cangelosi took it. And a knee-high pitch. Looked like a breaking ball. I don't know if he took something off, a little slider. But Cangelosi caught looking. And a big pitch.
Hargrove comes out, takes the ball from Mesa. You knew in this situation he couldn't possibly go to Hershiser with Alou, the scheduled hitter, because Alou has homered twice in this series off Oral, so he's going to go to Charles Nagy. We asked Hargrove in the clubhouse before Game 7 what he told Nagy concerning his decision to start Jarrett Wright in Game 7. He said, first of all, Charlie is a great guy. I explained it to him. I said, it doesn't mean I've lost confidence in you. I just think that Jarrett Wright gives us a better chance to win this game on this night, but be ready. We could go to you. He described Nagy as disappointed, but understanding.
Well, and in yesterday's game, Bob, he was up 3 or 4 times in the end.
That tied the game. Prior to tonight, Charles Nagy had made 211 big league appearances, one of them in relief. This is the second time in his life, at least at the major league level, that he's pitched out of the bullpen. Renteria at second, Sheffield at first, Nagy to elude. Ball one. Fly ball into shallow right. Ramirez coming in. Look out now. Closing in on Fernandez, and he makes the catch. Nagy comes in, retires Alou. What do you? One of these teams for all these years, or at least a portion of it. Not many still around who remember the last time the Cubs, White Sox, or Red Sox won it all. Lots of people in Ohio, though, who remember Lou Boudreau and Feller and Lemon and all those guys from 1948, maybe even a few around who remember the team managed by Tris Speaker, like Boudreau, a player manager in 1920 with Hall of Famer Stan Kowalewski and Bill Wamsgans turning an unassisted triple play in the 1920 World Series as they beat the Brooklyn Dodgers. Well, Jim Leland told us flatly before the game that he would not use Livan Hernandez, who threw 142 pitches on Thursday in winning Game 5. On the other hand, he didn't know this game would go at least 11 innings and maybe more.
Well, Livan Hernandez told Leland, he said, if you need me, I can throw. And there he is.
So now Jay Powell, who worked last night, comes on to start the 11th. Matt Williams will lead it off, followed by Alomar and Tomey. Ball one. Nen came in the 9th, got 2 big outs. Then in the 10th, although he allowed a single to Fernandez, he struck out the side. But they had to hit for him in the bottom half. So now it's up to Powell. His 2-0 pitch to Williams, and that misses. 3-0. Powell was 7-2 this year. Leland seldom used him to close a game. He had only 2 saves. He's 25 years old, out of Collinsville, Tennessee. And maybe that's appropriate, because by the time this is over, they may be calling for volunteers. Dangerous pitch for him on 3-1 to Williams. Rips it foul.
And Williams a little upset at himself. He had a good pitch to hit that time and get out in front of it.
.32 homers during the regular season. 1 in this World Series. The 3-2 pitch. Walked him.
Well, now Mike Hargrove has to make some decisions. Do you bunt Alomar to get the winning run or the go-ahead run in the scoring position, or do you let him hit away?
or even let Williams move, Joe, on a hit and run. Talked about that before the game tonight with guys like Williams. So there aren't too many people that he'll do it with, running and moving runners. But Alomar, who hits the ball behind runners and hits to right field very well.
He's a good bunter for a catcher. Had 6 sacrifices this year. In the bottom of the 11th, it'll be Bonilla, the new catcher Zahn, and Counsell. Sandy squares, bunts in front of the plate. Powell is on it, pegs it to second, and they get the force.
Well, this is the right strategy. You should be bunting to try to get the winning run or to go ahead run in the scoring position, but it's not a good bunt. And Powell jumps off the mound quickly, and he fired a strike to second base. Look at that. Right on target in time to get Matt Williams. So I think Mike Hargrove made the right move. You have to try to give yourself a chance to go ahead when you're on the road in extra innings in the 7th game of the World Series. It's not that situation where they say you play to score a lot of runs on the road.
That's right.
Bounces it foul. When you look at baseball men like Mike Hargrove, fine player in his day, now several years as the Indians manager. Jim Leland, this is 34th season in professional baseball. Often they're able to truthfully say, there's nothing I haven't seen, no situation I haven't faced. Well, what about this? This is uncharted territory for everybody. Only one Game 7 in World Series history has gone longer than this. That's strike 2. In 1924, Walter Johnson's Washington Senators beat the New York Giants 4-3 in 12 innings in Game 7 of the World Series. Johnson was the winning pitcher. That's the only Game 7 that's gone longer than this one. The 0-2 pitch, hit to Counsell. There's one. Renteria on to ice and right to complete the double play. If memory serves, not that I witnessed it, but I think I read about it someplace. His teammate of Newcomb and Campanella and Robinson and Snyder and Hodges, seated next to National League President Len Coleman. And according to our Jim Gray, who is down by the Marlin dugout, before his 7th inning at-bat, Bonilla got a little bit of advice from Joe Black. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but he talked to him just before the at-bat, and Bonilla jumped on the first pitch and hit it out of here. Jim Gray apparently heard that conversation. Let's go to him.
Well, each time that he's come to bat, he's had a word for Joe Black as well as the National League president, Len Coleman. Joe told him to take a step away from the plate, that he was crowding the plate a little bit. Took a swing at that pitch and hit the ball out of here. When he touched home plate, he pointed right over to Joe Black. Bob?
Joe Black now has been expelled from the pitcher's fraternity. Helping a hitter out that way.
Unless he moves over to the other dugout on that side.
Well, as good as Charles Nagy matched up against Moises Alou with the curveballs and the off-speed pitches, he doesn't match up as well with Bonilla. If Bonilla is patient, he will get a good pitch to hit. Nagy's pitches will not fool Bonilla unless he goes out of the strike zone. So he doesn't match up quite as well here as he did with Alou.
To the bottom of the 11th, and Bobby Bowe cuts and misses.
And right out of the strike zone right away.
And you talked about Bonilla earlier, Joe, the fact that he chases pitches every once in a while over anxious. That time down low and inside, a slider from Charles Nagy, and he chased it.
Called strike 2. Each team with 2 runs on 6 hits. The 0-2 pitch. Hit hard through the middle for a leadoff hit.
Nagy just does not match up well against Bonilla. Bonilla will always hit him well if he's patient.
If you're even thinking about a pinch runner, remember, Alex Arias, who does run well and does play third base, is the only reserve Jim Leland has left.
Yeah, but you can't take Bobby Bonilla out of this game simply because he ran well. You know, in fact, he helped them win the ball game in Cleveland. And you don't know how long this game is going to go. You might need Arias in a situation where you just need a fly ball. So Bobby Bonilla is going to have to bring the winning run home if the opportunity presents itself.
Now Zahn bats for the first time tonight. Squares to bunt. Up along the first base line, they let it roll foul. Zahn ran for Charles Johnson in the ninth.
Zahn's going to have to make a good bunt down the first baseline because Bonilla doesn't run that well right now.
He bunts it foul, and now he's behind 0-2.
Well, and he's got to stay with it. Greg Zahn normally is a guy who gets the ball down. That pitch was upstairs, bunted it foul back over the screen.
The Indians failed to execute in the top half of the inning to bunt the go-ahead run to second base, and so far the Marlins have not been able to execute either.
Let's see what they do with 2 strikes. He's going to try to bunt again. He lines it back to the mound. Nagy's got it. Fernandez sneaks in behind. But Bonilla is able to get back.
I think I'm all right.
And almost a bad throw. A good play by Tony Fernandez as he took that throw from Nagy. Bonilla getting back to the bag with Fernandez right there with him. But a bad bunt by Greg Zahn. Here it is. This pitch, a good ball to bunt. He just bunted that ball in the air. And Nagy hesitated a little bit. Finally threw over there, and Bonilla back with a head-first slide. Looked like Fernandez had his feet crossed, but he made the catch.
I must say I don't agree with a 2-strike bunt there with a left-handed hitter facing a right-handed hitter, but that's Jim Leland's prerogative. He's making those decisions.
Counsell fouls the first one back. He's without a hit tonight, but he could emerge from this game as one of its heroes. His sacrifice fly with 1 out in the bottom of the ninth tied this game at 2. Nagy gets ahead of him 0-2. Eisenreich is on deck. Still 0-2. It's no longer his birthday. It's about a minute past midnight. Another 0-2 pitch.
Well, the one thing you get from Charles Nagy is a lot of off-speed stuff, a lot of change of speeds. You'll change off the fastball, you'll throw 2 or 3 different kinds of curves, and then a straight change of pace.
Well, that can work against him if Counsell can put the ball in play because he has a big hole on the right side. And if he pulls it over there, Bonilla will have a chance to go to third base.
1-2. Punches it to the right side. Fernandez has it go through him. Bonilla will try for third. Ramirez up with it, but there's no play on him. Bonilla dives in.
Well, Bobby Bonilla tried to shield Tony Fernandez from this ball. Let's see if he does a good job. See, he waits right there, and then he lets it go past him. I'm not so sure if that caused Fernandez to miss it, but that's what Bobby Bonilla was trying to do. And then he hustles on around to third base. And he is the winning run at third. So now the only choice you have is to load the bases so that you have a force out at the plate.
Tony Fernandez, who has worn hero's laurels throughout the postseason, including earlier in this 7th game of the World Series. Now, cruel as it may seem, perhaps being fitted for goat horns. It'll be up to Devon White, who is 0 for 5. Of the past won't take the sting of this one away if the Marlins score here on a run set up by Fernandez's error.
Tony Fernandez took his eye off this ball for a moment. Here it is one more time. There's Bonilla, as Joe said. He tries to shield the ball from the view of Tony Fernandez, and then the ball gets by him. It touched his glove, winding up in short right field. That's what allowed Bonilla to go to third. But a good play by Bobby Bonilla, and it looked like Fernandez may have taken his eye off the ball momentarily to see if he can make a play at first on Counsell.
Because if a long fly ball is hit, the ball game is over anyway. They come in to try to take any line drive base hit away from the hitter.
Nagy works to White. On the first pitch to Fernandez. He's got to come home, and it is in time to Alomar. Well, he got another chance right away. And that's what it means to be a professional ball player.
Well, this is a much easier play, technically, because he gets it on the big hop. Now watch, he'll get it on the big hop, makes an easy routine play right there. If that ball stays down, it's a lot more difficult to turn and make that throw to the plate. So he got a little lucky there that he got it on the big hop.
So now it's Counsell who carries the run that could win the World Series as he leads away from third. Renteria bats with 2 out. And a breaking ball is in there.
5 times this year in extra innings, Edgar Renteria drove in the winning run in the bottom of the inning for the Marlins. All after the 9th inning.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series. or adversity mixed in with the brilliance. Somebody, fairly or not, tabbed as the GOAT, even as the heroes celebrate.
Well, for me, I prefer to give all the accolades to Edgar Renteria for doing the job here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 11th inning.
Well, it all goes back to the bullpen work of Cleveland. Jose Mesa coming on, couldn't hold the lead. They tied it in the 9th, and then the Marlins bullpen that had been rocked earlier in the series comes on to do a magnificent job in a couple of tough situations also. There you look at Tony Fernandez, Bob. You talked about the Gold Gloves and everything else that goes with it. A miscue. They get a break on a play hit back at him again right after he makes the bad play. He gets a chance to redeem himself. He does. And then here comes Edgar Renteria against Charles Nagy. And it looked like Nagy may have gotten a glove on the ball. Hit right back through the box. But a big base hit. What a celebration here. And what a game.
Look at Alex Fernandez, all of his teammates wearing a 32 on their cap in tribute to him after he went down with the rotator cuff injury. Livan Hernandez, the Cuban defector, has been named MVP of the World Series with his victories over Oral Hershiser in games 1 and 5. And to make it all the more special, Cuban authorities issued the necessary travel papers for his mother, Miriam Carreras, only yesterday. She flew in today, got here about 2 hours before game time. She was at the game for a few innings. We're told she left for security reasons, but we take it she will be able to stay at least for a while and visit with her son, who is now a hero in 2 nations.
Well, I think they had a lot of MVPs on this ball club. Moises Alou had some big games and a big hit here in the 9th inning today. Edgar Renteria played great shortstop throughout the series, and he gets the game-winning hit here in the bottom of the 11th inning. Even Bobby Bonilla, he got him started on the road back today. Gary Sheffield. When you look at this Marlins team, it is a team of MVPs. All of them played as well as anyone else could play on this ball club. They all contributed to this championship.
A world championship for Jim Leyland. A career minor leaguer until he came up to the bigs as a coach. In the Detroit organization, there he is with his young general manager, Dave Dombrowski. One of the most highly regarded baseball minds around. Jim Leyland, who, as we said last night, rode those buses out of Cocoa Beach, Bristol, Clinton, and Rocky Mount. Never had so much as a single at-bat in the major leagues. Now he's the skipper of the world champions. Resurrected in Florida. Came close with the 93 Phils. They won the pennant, but not the World Series. Now he gets the ring that every ball player wants. It was Edgar Renteria who whistled one back toward the mound. Nagy appeared to get the slightest piece of it, but he couldn't make a play. It flew into center field. And it took all measure of sanity with it as this place went wild.
injured pitcher, Alex Fernandez. An incredible scene, and after 3 decades of being in baseball, could you have ever imagined this, Jim?
No, not really. I guess every little boy imagined this might happen to him one time, but believe me, I thought it was a total fantasy for me.
What was going through your mind when the Indians were 2 outs away from winning this ball game?
Well, I was a little concerned like everybody else, but we haven't given up all year. Tonight wasn't the night to give up. I told them before the game, when we walked in the clubhouse tonight, we were going to be the world champions.
There was some speculation that you might actually consider retiring after reaching this, the pinnacle of your career, particularly if Wayne Huizenga decides to sell the team. Would you consider that?
My wife doesn't like me that much. I can't retire.
All right. Well, how about accepting the trophy? How about that? Let's turn around here and find now team owner Wayne Huizenga stepping into the picture. And Bud Selig is here for the presentation as MVP Livan Hernandez. Why don't you step over to this side as we're going to present the World Series trophy to team owner Wayne Huizenga. Bud?
On behalf of everybody in Major League Baseball, to you, Don Smiley, Dave Dombrowski, Jimmy Leland, and everybody, congratulations. You are richly deserved the world champion.
Of all of the money, the millions that you spent to build this championship ball club. Was it more than money, however, that made them World Series champs?
Are we just on NBC now or on the stadium?
We're on NBC.
Okay. This is absolutely fantastic. People make a lot about our payroll, but we got a lot of rookies on here. We got a lot of guys from the farm team, and our payroll is lower than all the rest of the guys we beat.
Wayne, I believe we may also be on the stadium, and I have to ask you this question. You talked about selling the ball club. Will you change your mind? Will you consider not?
We're not going to worry about that right now. I want to thank the fans, and I want to congratulate Cleveland. They're a great team. I want to say thanks to the players. I want to thank to Don Smiley and Dave Dombrowski, and most of all to our skipper Jimmy Leland. Jimmy deserves it.
Let's lift it up, Dave.
All right, thank you very much, Hannah. Edgar, let us talk to you. Edgar Renteria, tell us about that base hit as you're getting outfitted here with your championship hat.
Oh, I feel so excited because, because the team win, that's everybody won. The team win, that's like...
What went through your mind as you came up to the plate with bases loaded?
No, in the season I'm doing like 3 times or 5 times like this, and with the game now I feel comfortable, and when I see my pitcher, he with a ball and ground.
All right, Jim Leland, we have been together on a couple of moments that weren't quite like this. You cried, I remember, a couple of those occasions, and you said this is a lesson for everybody, and if I ever get back, I'm going to remember never give up, just like the Braves didn't give up when they beat you. Were you thinking about that tonight at all?
No, not really. I was thinking more about my wife and my son in the stands and my dad and my mom, and, I'm going to cry tonight, too. I don't know if it'll be right now, but I will definitely cry before this is over with.
You have had a number of opportunities in your life to reach this pinnacle. After 33 years, 18 years in the minors and all the bus rides, is it worth it now?
Well, it's worth it to me, and like I said all along in this series, it wasn't really a theme for those guys, but it had something to do with, like I said, the minor league managers, all the guys been in instructional league. They're down in winter ball, and they think they'll never get here. There was a flunky a double-A backup flunky catcher, and I'm standing on this podium tonight, so don't give up, guys.
After your speech tonight, you gave to your club. Gary Sheffield talked to them after you left and said that he wanted to dedicate this victory, as we bring Gary Sheffield in, to you for everything that you have done. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Gary, tell us what you said. What did you say to your teammates before the game about Jim? You ought to hear it now.
I told them we're going to pray first, and we prayed. When I told them we all pray, you pray hard enough, it come true. And I know how bad Jim Leland wanted this. I know how emotional he is. That's why we didn't want to let him down, baby. We did it for Miami fans, baby, too. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yeah!
Did you know your guys cared that much to want to dedicate it to you?
Well, I pitched appreciate that. But this is for them. They're the guys that played. And like all managers, I just kind of orchestrated everything. And like I said, there's a lot of guys. Renee Latchman and John Bowles, I tip my hat to them. They laid all the groundwork for me, and I came in and cut the yellow ribbon.
Congratulations to you, Jim. You've dedicated your life to this sport. Congratulations. Let's go to Hannah Storm with the MVP.
And now for the presentation of the MVP award, and it's the same man who won the MVP of the National League Championship Series. The overnight sensation here in the postseason, a man who wasn't even in the rotation to start the playoffs. Levon Hernandez. Here's Leonard Coleman, president of the National League.
Levon, congratulations on 2 clutch, gritty performances, which propelled your team to victory. We're also very pleased that your mother could be with us this evening. You're a most deserving MVP. Congratulations.
Levon Hernandez is joined by his interpreter, Julio Sarmiento. I love you, Miami. Levon, what did it mean to you? What did it mean to you, Levon?
Mine and yours, Edgar. This is mine and yours, Edgar.
What did it mean to Levon to have his mother here tonight, Levon?
Me sentí muy bien, estoy muy contento y...
I felt very good. I'm very happy.
La victoria se la dedico yo a ella y todo esto es de ella.
The victory I give to her, all this trophy, it's hers.
Does he have a message for all of those people at home in Cuba, those people that he left behind?
Bueno, el mejor mensaje es esto. A los que me quieren, yo los estimo mucho. Estamos lejos, pero los quiero mucho. A mi
familia. The message is this. To those that follow me and that love me, I love them and I follow them and I support them.
Un saludo a todo Miami, que los quiero a todos los quiero. Comunidad latina, americana, a todo el mundo.
Special greeting to all of Miami. I love you all. Latin American, Americans, everyone in Miami. I love you all.
Esta victoria es de ellos también.
This victory is yours as well.
Levon Hernandez has found a home here in Miami. Now let's go to Keith Olbermann with Mike Hargrove.
Thanks, Hannah. Mike, there are no words to describe what you saw. What do you tell your team?
Well, Keith, I don't really, know what to tell your team other than the fact that they played hard all year long. We overcame a lot of long odds to get to where we're at. We finished today. We played hard. We didn't give the game away. The Marlins played well. It was a game that could have gone either way, and just happened to go the Marlins' way. We have no reason to feel sorry for ourselves, to feel shamed about anything. And that's pretty much what I told the guys. Keep your heads up. Feel very good about who you are and what you're about and what you present to the American people, because they saw. I think that they saw a ball club that has a lot of heart, a lot of character, a lot of talent, and people like that are good to be around.
There was nothing strategically wrong in any stage of that game. All the right moves occurred on both sides. You just got a ball that was hit over Charles Nagy's head by about 1/4 of an inch.
That's usually what it comes down to in these kind of games. The Marlins. I enjoyed playing the Marlins. But I enjoyed managing against Jimmy Leland. I mean, acknowledged as one of the best managers in the league. He's a good friend of mine. Plus, Rich Donnelly's a very good and dear friend. So it was. You don't want to lose to anybody. But I guess you could say that I was happy to see Rich Donnelly and Jimmy Leland happy.
This was a series that was criticized in the media and was said to be sloppy and all the rest. And you close it out obviously on your side, the wrong side for posterity, but you close it out with what it truly amounted to one of the epic games in baseball history.
Well, I would hope so. I really would hope so. People would honestly look at this series and understand and realize, what it is. It is baseball. It doesn't have to be New York. It doesn't have to be Baltimore. It doesn't have to be Atlanta. Those are very good cities and very good teams. But the Marlins are a very good ball club and come from a good area, and the Indians are a good ball club and come from a good city too, and that's what baseball's all about. It doesn't have to be the same teams every year. If you look at it honestly, and if you enjoy baseball, then you had to enjoy this series.
Will you be able ever to see this game in that perspective?
Sure. I'm proud of my guys. I really, really am. I'm very, very disappointed that we lost. I mean, I can't describe to you how disappointed. You don't get many chances like this, and we came real close. But I am extremely proud to be associated with people like I've been associated with this year. They're good people, as I said, with a lot of character, and I don't want people to count us out for next year either.
Mike Hargrove, you and your staff and your team have been eminently gracious to us throughout this World Series, and on behalf of NBC, we thank you and our condolences on this one.
Well, thank you very much, Keith.
All right, we're going to go to a break and come back with more after the 7th and decisive game of the World Series right after this.
And we go now to Jim Gray, who's joined by Bobby Bonilla. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Hannah. Bobby Bonilla, you got your team on track. It was a 2-0 game. Jarrett Wright was pitching excellent baseball. Tell us about the first pitch that you hit there in the 7th inning that went out.
Well, actually, I've been talking to Joe Black pretty much the whole series, and he asked me for some particular reason in this game, was I standing too close to the plate? So I had to think to myself, and I said, you know what? I am. So I kind of backed off, and I was a little, wanted to be more patient, because in this type of situation, you want to do so much. And Joe came through there, and I was able to hit a ball out the ballpark because I was able to wait on it.
If you'll take a look at this monitor right down here in front of us, after the game, you had a very emotional moment with your manager, who's been with you for a long time, Jim Leland.
Yeah.
Tell us your thoughts here.
Well, you know what? I couldn't wait to hug him, you know. It is such a grind to be able to capture something so special, and it's worth everything you go through during the season. And I wanted to give him a big old bear hug, and I was able to do that.
You had left Pittsburgh after that loss in the National League Championship Series. Did you feel as though you would have another chance, because you've bounced around quite a few places since then?
Well, you never know if you're going to have that opportunity, but you like to be able to put yourself in a situation where you can. And I got very lucky to be able to, you know, they settled the whole mess with baseball, and I became a free agent, and I was able to sign with Florida. So I'm extremely elated about that, and it worked out to be a great, great year.
You're batting 167 coming into this game. Tell us, though, maybe the most important play. Did you distract Fernandez on that ground ball in the last inning?
Well, I tried to shield it somewhat so that because I'm not running that well, you know, I had the hamstring pull, and it worked to our benefit. I kind of blocked him from the ball, I believe. I don't know. But, you know, the way I was running, I wasn't going to be able to get the second anyway.
Bobby, congratulations. You played through injury.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Let's send it upstairs now to Bob Costas.
Jim, thanks very much. Our thanks to Hannah and Keith as well. Livan Hernandez, the MVP of the series, but the player of the game, we'll say Edgar Renteria. He went 3 for 5, and his hit decides the issue in the 11th. And now we take one final deep breath and try to sum up one of the great Game 7s in World Series history. You've been around the game for a long time.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Bob, just being around these players each and every day and watching this whole series unfold, the story with Hernandez, tonight Renteria, I mean, we've talked about him throughout the series, about his fine play at shortstop. He's just a kid. So look at these guys, and especially this Marlins organization. 5 years, and here they are, the world's champions. On the other side, Mike Hargrove. We've known him for a long, long time. They've been to the dance, still haven't closed it out. And those are the things that stick with me. I mean, you know, as much as this celebration goes on here tonight, the one thing that these players don't realize, this is great. It's a great World Series. It's a great championship. Next year, when they award that championship ring, that's when these guys are going to realize what they've done.
Joe, you've got a couple of them. You know what that feeling's about.
Well, I tell you, Bob, there's not a greater feeling that you can have as a professional athlete than to win the World Championship. You can win MVP awards, but those are individual awards. But when you win a World Championship, it's 25 players coming together with one goal in mind. And you know something? No matter where you go the rest of your life, you will always have a bond, a championship bond with your fellow teammates.
It was great to work again this postseason with you guys. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there is no denying that baseball, as a game and especially as an institution, has its share of problems. And this World Series emphasized some of those problems. No denying that. But this series also, especially Game 7, reminded us why this can be the greatest game of all. Baseball, especially in the big games, has a capacity to generate a kind of sustained tension and drama that is both delicious and excruciating, and is all but unmatched in all the sports. This game takes its place in baseball history, a history that is the longest and richest of all the team sports, and it redeems a lot of what this 1997 baseball season has been about. Say what you want about the institution of baseball. The game of baseball can still be the best game on earth. For Bob Uecker, for Joe Morgan, for Keith Oberman, for Hannah Storm, and for Jim Gray, thanks for being with us. And good night from South Florida, where the Florida Marlins reign as baseball's world champions.
Denver's defense has had trouble stopping the run all season. They've given up big plays on the run.